Hi, this is Skip Bayless, and thank you for listening to the Undisputed podcast. I just posted a personal story on my Facebook page. If you want to know what I'm really all about, what makes me tick, what made me me, you should read what I wrote about my upbringing. You should read about how I succeeded in spite of a mean-spirited drunk of a father and a mother who was too interested in herself to ever be much interested in me. You should read about my athletic achievements and my chokes. You'll find my story on my Facebook page. And now, let's get the show started.
Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft, here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe.
Well, here we go.
Good morning.
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
You haven't got over being shut out on Sunday
I have
yet?
not yet. I'm going to take it out on my team today.
Oh.
What?
I'm going to re-motivate my team today. Right now.
At first it was Tennessee. You hadn't gotten over that
Yeah.
one. And then you had a worse loss on Sunday, and you haven't gotten over that one.
If my robot coach can't motivate my team, I'm about to.
Oh.
I'm going to relight the fire.
Jenny, how are you doing today?
Yeah,
you look nice
yeah,
with
yeah.
the turtle. Hey, look at Jenny.
Yeah, look at you.
Holidays.
What do you do? Audition and be a State Farm agent? You can be in the Aaron Rodgers commercial like that,
Oh,
right?
I see
Look
you.
at that.
Away.
I see
Yeah,
you
you
on
can be
one this morning.
Gabriel.
You on one this morning, huh?
Yeah.
He's ready to go. Should I get
Oh,
to
yeah.
it? Okay, on today's show, an NFL great not named Shannon is taking shots at Tom Brady. Do you guys hear about this? And then there's Skip's Cowboys. Did they get exposed
I don't
on
like
Sunday?
that word, exposed.
Exposed?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about it. But we are going to start with the Saints. Drew Brees did not throw a touchdown pass.
Uh-oh.
And the Saints did not score a touchdown until the fourth quarter. But they still got the win, 12-9 against the Panthers last night. The defense was all over Cam Newton, intercepting him in the red zone and sacking him 4 times. New Orleans now has the best record in the league at 12-2, ahead of the 11-3 Chiefs, Chargers, and Rams. So, Shannon, are the Saints the best team in the NFL?
Absolutely not. Right now, I have the
Really?
Chargers as the best team.
You do? Wow.
To do what they did, they went on the road and beat Pittsburgh after falling behind by 16 points. They went to Kansas City, beat them after falling behind by 14 points.
Like
I think
3 times by 14.
Yes,
But go ahead.
I believe Phillip Rivers is playing as good a quarterback position of anybody in the NFL, and that's saying something. And we're going to talk about this a little later. Right now, he's number 2 on my MVP ballot. But I like what I've been able to see from the Chargers. I had them going to the Super Bowl. I still do. Now, they're going to get Melvin Gordon back. I don't know if he comes back this week or the last week of the season. And when they bring him back, now we know Phillip can throw the football, those big receivers with Keenan Allen, the 2 Williams boy, Antonio Gates. I just read yesterday they're thinking about activating Hunter Henry towards ACL in training camp,
Yep.
OTAs. So they'll get him back. But they can run the football. And now, since Joey Bosa has come back, now they can really, really pressure the quarterback. Derwin James has been unbelievable. He's going to be in the running for defensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year.
Sure.
So right now, I have the Chargers as the best team in the NFL, given what we've seen over the last 3 to 4 weeks. We see the Rams go down. We saw the Saints go down 3 weeks ago. And since then, Skip, they haven't played well. You look at the numbers. Drew Brees over his last 3 games, 177 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They scored 10 points against the Cowboys, 12 points last night. And even though they got to, I think, 25 against Tampa, those points came.
28, I think it's 28-14, wasn't it? Go ahead.
So
those
points came late. They don't look like the same high-flying, high-powered offense
They do not.
that we've seen over the first, 11, 12 weeks of the season. And I think what has happened, Skip, is that teams have said, you know what? You really only have Michael Thomas at the wide receiver position to throw
I think
to.
they said that last night.
So let's see.
You can't have him.
Kirkwood, if you want to make some plays, guys, other guys, I'm going to take away Michael Thomas.
Yep.
We're not going to let you do Michael Thomas do to the Rams. We're not going to let that happen to us on our watch. So basically, when you look at it in the receiving game, Skip, basically it's Michael Thomas and Kamara. All the other guys, they can catch the ball, but they don't really pose the threat and the dynamic playmaking ability of those 2 guys. And but give those guys defensively, they played well last night. But this is an offensive football team. And at some point in time in the playoffs, you're going to need, the way your bread is buttered, you're going to need to have that show up come playoff time. And if the Saints think they can win a game in the playoffs scoring 10, 12 points, that's not going to happen. That's not who they are. That's not what they are. So right now, Skip, I believe the Chargers are the best team in the NFL.
And you picked the
Chargers.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Is that how that works?
Is true.
Very interesting. So my big picture takeaway on the question that Jenny has posed is that this year I see no dominant team in the National Football League. The NFL has no Golden State Warriors that I can see to this point, right?
No.
This year is so weirdly great, so provocatively watchable, that right now, and you can laugh, feel free to laugh at this, I do not rule out Dak Prescott's team or Lamar Jackson's team from getting on a hot roll and making it to the Super Bowl on either side of the tournament. I do not rule those two teams out because I'm not sold on any of these quote-unquote best teams. I'm not sold on your best team. Even though you picked the Chargers, I'm going to remind you, on November 18th, which is not that long ago, they lost at home to Case Keenum, 23-22. Remember that game?
Yep.
You like that? Says Kirk Cousins. I don't like that. And then you realize they trailed 23-7 at Pittsburgh at halftime, and they pulled off a miraculous comeback, which was more blaming Pittsburgh than crediting the Chargers to me, but it was still great, and I give you that. Then they went home, and they almost lost to Jeff Driscoll and the Cincinnati Bengals. It was really tight late, and they finally pulled it out 26-21. And then, as you brought up, they're down at Kansas City 14-0 and 21-7 and 28-14, and they pull off another miraculous comeback, and I give you Phillip Rivers, and I give you the defense, and I give you all those pieces, but I'm not seeing dominating. I'm not seeing invincible. I'm not seeing completely unbeatable because they're living on their 8th, 9th life right now. They're just pulling out these games. Like, I'm not seeing overwhelmingly great right now.
Have you seen the Cowboys? They have 6 losses.
Okay.
The
We're
Ravens,
talk about
6
them.
losses.
I got that, but I can show you moments where I said, wow, look at that. Like the fourth quarter and overtime against the Eagles, that was just dominating on the part of Dallas.
And then what
I can go
Sunday?
back to Jacksonville. They beat Jacksonville 40-7 when Jacksonville had the #1 defense in pro football. I keep warning you about my Cowboys. One of these Sundays, they're going to put it all together, and you're going to have to eat a whole like Christmas feast of crow over there.
Did they not put it together Sunday?
No, they did not.
Did you see them against
Tennessee? They not won 5 in a row.
Did you
before
see them
Sunday.
against
We'll
Washington?
talk about them later.
Okay.
Let's get back to the New Orleans Saints. I picked the Saints, and you shocked me by you picking the Saints before the year started to win the NFC. So your picks are actually, it's a rarity.
Better than yours.
It's like an aberration.
Better
it's
than
a
yours.
shock.
Better than yours.
I don't know. Are you really counting out Tom Brady? Because I'm not writing him completely off. I don't love their chances, but that guy is one guy I keep telling you I don't bet against.
Well, I'm betting the ranch.
Okay, well, we may have to bet some ranch full of Diet Dew on that before this thing is over. But again, we both picked New Orleans, but do I feel nearly as convicted about it as I did before the year started? I just do not, because you made all the case. Since Dallas did that 13-10 number on Drew Brees, by the way, Dallas did win that game on a big Thursday night stage. I don't know how they did it, but they did. But since then, this team lost its mojo and its way. Now, it had to play 3 straight road games. But the defense, I got to say, played way better than the offense did on the road, because they let Dallas score the grand total of 13, then they gave up 14, and then last night they gave up 9. So their defense is actually playing at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
They rank 7th overall in points allowed. So that'll work.
That.
But Drew Brees, I don't recognize him in the last 3 weeks. Do you? Okay. All right. Well, I'm just saying. I know you're going to buy into that, but I'm just saying, do they look invincible to you? They did for a while to me. Home and road, they looked invincible.
Before they got to Dallas, they did look invincible.
So guess who visits this Sunday in the late afternoon game? Pittsburgh Steelers. Is it possible that their breakthrough against New England will give them a springboard to New Orleans? Is it possible that they would outgun Drew Brees on his home turf when he's lost a little confidence and you now have the blueprint for how to stop their offense? Is it possible?
It's possible.
Okay, they're going to open up like 6.5, 7-point underdogs at New Orleans. But do I really trust Drew Brees and company? I don't know. I haven't seen firepower. I haven't seen explosive. And to your point, once you take that one receiver away, really? Is Benjamin Watson enough to get you home? Are they invincible? Could I see Dallas going to New Orleans and winning a playoff game? You better believe I could, because they definitely they invented the blueprint. They drew it up to start with. But they match up.
You keep talking about Dallas and their 5-game winning streak. Every game that they won by was about one possession. So you can't feel good about that.
All right, like in one game, we're gonna go into this deeply here pretty soon. But in the one game, the second game against Philly at Jerry World, they were awful and they were dominatingly great, right?
Right.
Okay, so I don't know what to do with that. I lean more toward the dominating great.
But here's the thing that happens to you in the playoffs: if you're ever awful early, you get blown out.
Okay.
The game's over. The momentum swells so quickly that you don't get a chance to be great late.
Although my quarterback, Dak Prescott, in his very first rookie year playoff game, fell behind 21-3 at home, and then what happened?
They lost.
They didn't lose. They tied.
They lost.
But they got all the way back to a tie game. Am I right? It was 31-all. How do you do that? Well, you just made a case. If you get behind early, you're dead in the playoffs. My team was not dead because my quarterback threw a party on Green Bay's defense. He threw for 303 touchdowns.
But here's the thing.
That's my quarterback who can't throw.
Skip, you were at home. You're going to be on the road if you face New Orleans. So let me get this straight. You go down 21-3 in the Dome. You coming back to tie that game.
Nope, you're not in that game.
Exactly.
But did they go down 21-3 to Drew Brees at home on Thursday night? They did not.
Look.
They took the lead.
If you follow the NFL closely enough, over the course of time, you're going to look at teams. Someone's going to go on and win the Super Bowl. But you're going to look back and they had a crushing, debilitating loss. And you're like, I don't know how this team overcomes that.
Okay.
That's
what's been happening this year.
But you don't normally have 5 of those, Skip Bayless, like the Dallas Cowboys. You don't get blanked. You don't get beat by the Titans. You don't get beat by Seattle. You don't get all the Washington.
Were those not all pre-Amari Cooper? Right?
You had Amari Cooper. You had the hottest guy in football. You got a guy hotter than fish grease. They say he running white hot, Jim. That's what they say. Now, you know when something get white hot, you been cooking that thing a long time. You got Skip says Zeke Elliott is the best running back in football. That's what Skip tells me every single day.
He still is. Well, wait a second. I don't tell you that. The stats scream it. Who's leading the league in rushing right now? Help me out.
So let me ask you a question.
Who's leading the league? I want to know. Who's your researcher tell you?
Zeke's leading.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But let me ask you a question.
Case closed.
You rather have yards or points? Because Todd Gurley got 18, 19 touchdowns. Okay.
Do you like the Rams?
Whoa,
are you betting on the Rams? Because I'm not.
It's my time to talk.
Wait, are the Rams not 3-3 in their last 6 games? What about that Rams quarterback? You love him?
Even at
16 turnovers in the last 6 games? Really?
Even at 3-3, their record is they're still what, 4 or 5 games clear of you guys? Okay, so now, and you got Dak Prescott hot. You scored 0 points.
Okay.
Yep. What am I supposed to do with that? How in today's game do you score 0?
They didn't need the game. They didn't care about it.
Oh, now they don't need the game.
They didn't show up.
Now they
I
don't
told you yesterday they did not show up.
That's not what you told me on Friday.
Guess what? When they really needed to rise and shine against Drew Brees, guess what Drew Brees was on 3rd down at Dallas on that Thursday night? He was 3 for 11. You don't think my defense could hang in with Drew Brees in the Superdome? I think my team could.
But it's funny that you say they didn't need the game because you told me, I read your tweet. The Dallas
Somebody's creeping again.
Wait,
which burner account do you follow me on? I need to know which burner account. What's your
Cowboys.
alias? What is your alias?
How about?
Wait, it must be Unk.
Cowboys.
What was your number? 84. Unk 84. Look it up. Is it Unk 84? Is that a burner account? It's got to be.
A tweet from Skip Bayless. Cowboys will win this game because they're a little better than Andrew Luck and the Colts. Now they didn't need the game. Now, that's what he tweeted. You tweeted they were going to win. Now, all of a sudden, they lose.
I also told you on Friday's show, did I not tell you? They don't really need this game.
No.
That's how they play.
But you also told me that you're glad that the Colts won this game because the Cowboys needed to respect the Colts because they know now the Colts can beat them. Now they lose, they didn't need the game.
So let's go through the best teams in the NFL. All of them, according to the Hall of Fame, are better than the Dallas Cowboys. Let's start with those Rams, and we just talked about 3-3 in their last 6. Their defense ranks 20th in the NFL in points allowed. You love that? Do you love that?
Your offense ranked 25th in points scored. You like that.
Okay.
You like that.
My Cowboys defense ranks 4th in points allowed.
Dude, but here's the thing, though, Skip. Your Cowboys do not take the ball away and convert them to points. So what good is it if your offense can't score if you get a short field?
Okay.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
the Houston Texans had won 9 straight games, and all of a sudden I look up and they lose to Andrew Luck and the Colts at home 2 weeks ago, 24-21.
Okay.
And I didn't love it for their sake, because if you look back at their 9 in a row, we don't have time to go through every game, but it wasn't all that impressive. No big-time opponent, no big test, no big road game.
But your 5-game winning streak was impressive.
Okay, well, I'm just saying these are the Texans, and then they went up to the Jets on Saturday, and
they won.
They trailed by, what was it, 22-19 with 5 minutes left?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't an overwhelming, dominating performance by the
Skip,
Houston Texans.
So I'm just make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You beat Philadelphia twice, who's sub 500, who's sub 500. You beat Atlanta.
They're not sub 500. They're 500 now because Nick Foles. I'm glad Nick Foles didn't play against the Cowboys, or I would have been sunk.
Okay, they're 500. Atlanta, sub 500. Washington, what are they? So now, but you feeling good, but you want to talk about the Rams that are 3-3 over the last 5 games? I mean, last 6 games?
Let me keep going let's go back to the NFC. Chicago Bears. Do I respect them? You better believe I do.
Y'all wouldn't move the ball.
That defense is hot.
Y'all wouldn't move the ball.
So, they had won 5 straight games, and then all of a sudden they go up to New York to play the football Giants, and they lose in overtime. Again, the quarterback was Chase Daniel, but I thought that might be a little upgrade over Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, clearly it wasn't.
Clearly it wasn't, but again, do I fear Mitchell Trubisky in the postseason? I'm sorry, I do not.
That's what the team said about the Cowboys.
Okay, but are you buying into Mitchell Trubisky?
No, I'm not buying into Dak Prescott and the Cowboys either. So guess what?
Okay, guess what? So then we get to the New England Patriots. And again, they've ridden the roller coaster all year, but if you take away the Miami Miracle, they were going to be 10-4. And Tom Brady played his best game of the year, and Bill Belichick, because of the late blunder, cost them a football game that they should have won their house. Okay, but look what they would be if you take away that last play and the deflation, the knock you on the floor of that last play. Then maybe they go win at Pittsburgh. Maybe they can.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out.
And by the way, they're thrown into the end zone at the end of the Pittsburgh game.
Hold on. Wait a minute. The deflation. How do you get deflated? When you tell me when J.R. Smith didn't put the ball back in the basket, LeBron James, if you're the GOAT, you got to overcome that. You can't be deflated. Why is Tom Brady deflated?
You just made the all-time worst analogy.
Why?
The football game ended on the last play. The New England Patriots didn't get the ball back. It wasn't going to overtime. It didn't tie the game and send it to overtime. If that game had been tied to go to overtime with the Miami Miracle, Tom Brady wins that game.
So why are you deflated going into Pittsburgh? You said they were deflated going into Pittsburgh. Why?
And thank you for bringing up the LeBron game. That was the disqualifier for the GOAT discussion. Well, you brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
I got a problem with it.
Because he played maybe his greatest regulation playoff game in his history. And that's hard to do because he's had a lot of good ones. But what did he score? 49 or whatever it was?
49 at that point.
49 in regulation.
Yes.
He turns down a last-second shot when he had been crazy hot from outside. They blow the end of the game. Obviously, JR was knuckleheaded. And LeBron James goes to the bench and separates himself, distances himself from the team, and sits 8 or 10 feet away and sulks and pouts throughout the timeout before the overtime, and then pouts for the first 2.5 minutes of the overtime and will not even take a shot. And they fall behind by 7 points and lose game 1. That's what you call quitting.
So,
that's it.
You just told me that Tom Brady played his best game against Miami. So why would he come out and lay an egg against the Pittsburgh Steelers the following week?
But he played the best game of his year, and his coach had an all-time un-Belichickian, ungenius blunder that left the whole football team on the mat.
I love how we nitpick every decision that doesn't work out in the Patriots' favor, because I've seen Coach Belichick make some moves. I've actually been in the game when he's made moves, and he gets labeled a genius. He benched Kyle Arrington, who was getting toasted in the Super Bowl against Seattle, and inserts Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler comes up with the interception. He's a genius. Now, all of a sudden, he does what he thinks is going to be in the best interest. Now, once he sees they're not lining up in a Hail Mary formation, I believe he should have called timeout. But who am I to second guess?
Everybody second guess that. Okay. Even you.
I did, but hey, that's neither here nor there. But what does they got to do with Pittsburgh? What does that got to do with your guy doing the dying growth syndrome? falling away from contact. What does that got to do with that, Skip Bayless?
Well, he led a drive from his 25 all the way to the
Did
Pittsburgh
he lead it
11.
in the end zone?
Yeah.
Did he lead in the end zone?
Was it his fault they got a holding penalty that set him back 10
so
yards?
now you see, Skip, we blame everybody. So I was going to make sure.
I'm just saying.
Was it Matt Ryan's fault that Jake Matthews got a holding penalty in the Super Bowl that pushed him out of field goal range?
Just for the sake of this discussion, I'll give you this. Pittsburgh was all on Tom Brady. It was all his fault. He threw one interception in the game and whatever. But let's give him all the blame for that game. Are you going to write them off? Because I'm not going to write them off in the AFC tournament.
The question was not, Jenny, who are we writing off? Are the Saints the best team in the NFL? And you didn't give me anybody. Who's the best team?
Right now, I'm going to give a slight edge to New Orleans, but I just think it's wide open because I will not be shocked if Pittsburgh goes and wins at New Orleans. And remember, the Pittsburgh Steelers had lost 3 straight ahead of the New England breakthrough, and they had just lost at Oakland. You like that? I don't like that. So do I love the Steelers? I love what they could be. That was the best game they played all year. New England got their best shot, especially on defense. That was a defensive, by their standards, tour de force.
You like New Orleans losing to Tampa opening night?
No. I give them a slight edge. I still, just because they're such a good home team that I've got them, it's going to be hard to beat them at home. But I like Dallas because Dallas beat them
at home.
Yeah.
Are they going to go to New Orleans and play that way again?
You don't think they would like their chances going in there? You don't think they'd go in with some confidence?
They'd have the confidence.
I think New Orleans would like their chances at home. That's why home field is so important to the Saints, because they are a different team in that building.
And then that brings me on the other side of the tournament to young Lamar Jackson. He's playing crazy hot football right now. And everybody's got a bad loss in the last month or so. Everybody's got a bad loss, including my Cowboys on Sunday. But the only team with a good loss is the Baltimore Ravens, because they had Kansas City dead to rights. They had them 24-17 with 1:29 left in regulation. And as you know, 4th and 9 conversion by your guy, my homeboy. And we know the rest of the story. They survived in overtime. But to me, I can't rule out the Ravens because their defense is so good.
Well, we'll find out a lot more about the Ravens on Saturday night against the Chargers.
They're at the Chargers on Saturday night.
The question is if they fall behind, Skip, because here's the thing. As long as you're in an advantageous situation, you winning the game, you can run the football, you can control the clock, you can limit the Chargers' possessions.
Yeah.
What happens if they go down 10? What happens if they go down 14?
But they haven't been, because they now lead the league in time of possession, the Ravens.
Yeah.
So they got the best defense and the best ball control offense. I don't know. Is that not a formula for success?
Well, yeah. Since he's been in there, they've been averaging about 230 yards rushing.
Okay.
Well, if you run the ball 230 times for 230 yards, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
So Lamar Jackson is 4-1 as a starter, but the victims have been the Bengals, Raiders. They won at Atlanta, which I still think is pretty impressive. Then they lost at Kansas City, and then they beat Tampa Bay.
You think Atlanta is impressive for the simple fact Dallas won at Atlanta. So you don't want to devalue Atlanta, because then it would be devaluing the Cowboys. See,
I just think at home, Atlanta can be pretty explosive.
You think because I got these old new tortoiseshell glasses on, I can't see. But I see right through
I did not see your new tortoiseshell.
No. Yeah. I had these for a minute.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I see old Skip Bayless, what he's trying to do. Stop trying to accentuate the Cowboys. They are who we thought they were.
The truth is, I don't see a best team right now, which means it's open for teams like Dak Prescott's and Lamar Jackson's. Wait and see.
Well, it is up for debate, the best team. We're going to break down the Cowboys if they got exposed on Sunday.
Exposed!
And then there's Tom Brady. He may have been exposed as well. We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
Well, the Cowboys need to regroup after Sunday's shutout loss to the Colts. It was the first time Dallas has been shut out since 2003. Dak Prescott said, quote, Sunday's loss is a wake-up call. And Ezekiel Elliott added, quote, we needed a reality check. The Cowboys were rolling before Sunday, winning 5 straight. Next up for Dallas, a home game Sunday against the Bucs on Fox. So, Shannon, who are the real Cowboys? The team that won 5 straight, or the team that was shut out on Sunday?
I believe they're closer to the team that was shut out on Sunday. Yeah. Now, this is also the same Zeke that said, hey, loss was good for us.
Yeah.
Oh. Now,
that's what I said yesterday.
Whoa, hold on, time out.
I did say that. Yeah.
If losses are good for you, why don't teams try to do it more often? Why do they practice? Why don't they just show up? If losses are so good.
Well, if you won 5 in a row, you don't really Have to worry about the next
Really?
one. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you've lost 5 of the 8, you probably should try to win as many as you can. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that in a second. Again, you see, the thing is that, yes, they won 5 games in a row, but all those games they was in one score. So just as easy as they won that game, they could have easily lost. And what gave me cause for concern, a pause to concern, it was that I looked at what they did against the Eagles. Dak Prescott had his best statistical day as a Cowboy. 455, 3 touchdowns. Amari Cooper had a career day receiving the ball, 217. Zeke had 40 touches, over 200 scrimmage yards. But you needed overtime in order to win this ball game. So that gave me some concern because I'm like, hold on. You guys had career days and you still need overtime? Now, Jerry Jones told me after the Saints win, he said, this team won't be the same. I'm serious. You win something like this against a team well coached, those kind of players, you'll get the.
Wait, he didn't tell you that. He told the world
Yeah!
that.
He said, hold on.
Or did he call you and tell you?
Time out.
I don't know. Well, I'm just asking. I didn't
ask you a question.
I thought that was a press conference.
I didn't ask you a question.
You said he told you. Did he not say he told me?
He did say that.
It's figuratively speaking.
I'm
not talking in a literal sense.
Well, I didn't know. I can't follow.
Yes, you did.
I'm not on your level. I'm not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Jerry says this is a changer in here. These guys, they're different cats not going
Different cats. Different cats.
The old cats look like the new cats on Sunday. They got shut out. So what am I to do, Skip Bayless? A team that got doors blown off them at home by the Tennessee Titans. And see, this is why I think they're basically the same, they're closer to this team, Skip, because when you look at it, this was a team prior to them going into that winning streak, hadn't won a game on the road. They hadn't put back-to-back wins together. They hadn't put 20 points in back-to-back games. So this leads me to believe, as great as they're playing, as great as they were playing, if you could say that's great, beating mediocre ball clubs, because other than the Saints, do we know if any of those other teams are going to make the playoffs? Huh? You can answer that.
No,
you like
not my turn.
You like to
I just got shut up. I got shushed.
Answer.
And I can't, and we have dead air because you're looking at me because you don't have anything else to say.
Go ahead.
You're out of ammunition.
No, I'm just asking
and now you want me to talk, and I'm not going to talk.
Why not?
Because you shamed me into silence.
No, I didn't shame you into silence. You just wanted to speak. Jerry didn't tell you. He told the world.
Well, I want to know. I thought maybe he called you. He likes you.
You know I was speaking figuratively, but that's okay. But that's neither here nor there. Skip, I think the inconsistency that Dak Prescott has shown this year, and basically throughout his career, I think that's going to be a problem for them. The Colts, physically. You talk about your defense and how good they were. The Colts, physically, dominated them. They bullied them. Andrew Luck didn't even get touched. You told me DeMarcus Lawrence Taylor, the only time he saw Andrew Luck was at the coin toss. Didn't lay a hand on him.
That is correct.
Didn't lay a hand on him.
Yeah, keep talking. I like this.
Laundry.
Keep preaching.
The
Are you listening, Dallas Cowboys?
The equipment manager just hung Luck's jersey right back up in his locker, Jenny. He ain't needed that. Hey, no perspiration, no grass stains or nothing on it.
Didn't need to be washed.
But that's your defense. Y'all physical.
He didn't break a sweat because he only threw for 192. 192. That wasn't exactly like torture.
Hold on. What about old Mac? Return of the Mac. Ran through y'all like 40 going north.
Did he?
Went through them like Sherman went through Atlanta.
Yeah.
But 60-mile stretches. But that's neither here nor there. Skip, look. You are who we thought you were. Y'all know you got all happy. You won 5 straight, and you thought you gonna win some due. But I'm gonna get it all back.
Thought I was gonna win some due?
Yeah, you thought.
I think a week ago you conceded.
I will get it back. I changed. Recount.
Oh, you're recounting the due? Yep. You want to get back in the race after you conceded?
Don't worry about it. All I'm saying is this. You're closer to what you displayed on Sunday than you were during those 5-game winning streaks. Because even in the 5-game winning streak, you showed considerable flaws. But the other team was just more flawed than you were.
Oh, okay. So, Shannon Sharpe, I want that same energy that you just displayed next Monday. And then I want it
against Tampa?
Following Monday.
Oh, you wanted against Tampa?
We could actually clinch the division. Who knew?
Against Tampa.
And that could clinch 6 cases of Diet Mountain Dew for me. Because I already won 1 head up on Eagles versus Cowboys at Jerry World. And so now I'm up to 11 cases, and this would make it 17 cases if Dallas beats Tampa on Sunday. So I want the same energy from you next Monday. Thank you very much. Is that okay?
You need that energy.
And if you'd like, because you're so full of yourself today, I will increase our stakes. Since you think Philly's back in it now, we can go 4 cases and 4 cases because it's still up for grabs.
No, it's not.
It's 8-6 versus 7-7. It's only a 1-game lead for my woeful Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, you gotta
my
win.
Exposed Dallas Cowboys. My garbage Dallas Cowboys are only 1 game up on your Eagles, but I'll increase the stakes.
I'm glad you understand
if you
they're
like
garbage. I understand that you understand that they're trash. But here's the thing. I love how you do. See,
I don't do anything.
You stand on top of the table and pound because you know you only need 1 game and you play in Tampa. But you didn't have this energy last week. You didn't have this energy.
By the way, Philly hosts the Houston Texans. Are they any good? They're pretty good. And Washington has to go to Tennessee. Washington's a 10-point underdog.
But you just told me how they struggled against the Jets. They were down by 5, 3 points, 4 points.
I was just... These are just facts. This is what's about to happen. Philly's actually a 1-point favorite over the Houston Texans. So
1
what does
point
that tell you?
At home, 1 point.
Well, that's because they had a big quarterback change to Nick Foles over Carson Wentz, and all of a sudden Vegas said, "Uh-oh."
But you told me Foles is the better quarterback, so Vegas should have.
No, I mean they're starting to lean back to Philadelphia here because I thought Tennessee, the Texans going to Philly would be, I don't know, I thought they might be 4 or 5 point favorite.
Really?
Yeah. I did, but all of a sudden, Nick Foles has
But they just struggled. You just told the world they just struggled against the Jets.
So, back to my Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to repeat what I've said several times in the last few weeks on this show. In all my years of following football, in all my years of following my Dallas Cowboys back to 1961, that's a long time ago, these Cowboys are the most frustrating team I have ever rooted for in any sport. I have ridden the roller coaster with them all year long. I have thrown my jersey away. I have retrieved my jersey out of the trash because that's what they do to my psyche.
Should have set it on fire after Sunday.
Okay? So they can be really, really good or they can be really, really bad. Sometimes in the same game against Philly, the second Philly game at Jerry World. Were they not really bad in that game and did really, really good down the stretch?
Yes.
I'm going to throw the stats out again. Dak Prescott was merely 17 of 20 in the fourth quarter and overtime for 243 yards and 3 touchdowns without a turnover.
Had 206.
You know what? That's
one interception.
You know what? That is Brady-esque down the stretch. That's like Super Bowl Brady.
And guess what happened? Brady took the L. But you keep telling me Dak what he did in the fourth quarter and overtime, but he had fewer yards in 4 quarters against the Colts. So which am I supposed to believe? Will the real Dak Prescott please stand up?
So here's what the deal is with my Cowboys. When it has mattered most, they have risen and they have shown. Every time it's been do or die, backs to the wall, or every time they faced road embarrassment when they went back to the scene of the crime at Atlanta. What happened a year ago in Atlanta? What happened to my Cowboys? Do you remember?
They're a different team.
Okay, 8 sacks were allowed that day. It was horrendous. It's still a nightmare to me. Dak Prescott still, I think, hasn't quite recovered from that football game.
Why not?
And they went down there and righted the wrong of that game. So every time they faced national TV embarrassment, Drew Brees, what happened? They rose and they shone.
Titans.
And when it mattered the most, no, it didn't matter. They didn't really need that game. That was mid-season. It wasn't a do-or-die game.
Hold on, Skip. Did you realize how many games you had already lost?
Okay, it wasn't do or die. It wasn't backs to the wall yet. Every time this team has been pushed to the brink, it has responded, and it will respond again because my gut feeling is I'm leaning way more toward really good than really bad. So what happened? I know this is third-level thinking for you, and I know it's just hard to sort of comprehend, but this is what happened on Sunday.
Try me out.
They woke up with a 2-game lead in the NFC East after all their woeful performances, all their debacles, the Tennessee nightmare. They wake up on Sunday morning in where? Where are we? In Indianapolis? With a 2-game lead in the NFC East, and they know that later in the day, Washington is going to lose at Jacksonville because they got Josh Johnson at quarterback, right? Josh Johnson? They're going to lose at Jacksonville.
How? With Cody Kessler at quarterback for the Jags.
But the Eagles are going to the Rams, and they are going to lose because They got Nick Foles back at quarterback, right? And what happened? Everything went south on the same day. They went way south because they came out and played like that game didn't really matter to them, because it didn't. And that's how they performed. They came out with no incentive. They came out with no motivation. They had no urgency. They had no energy. They were lifeless from the beginning, except for the offense drove the ball, but then they get a field goal block.
So they weren't lifeless then?
Okay. The defense was lifeless from the start. Okay. The defense that most people hung their helmets on, the Dallas Cowboy defense, they got those two hot young linebackers, right? They got the tackling Dutchman. That defense got blown off the field in Indianapolis. That defense came in leading the NFL in yards allowed per rush, and it got wiped off the map by 178 yards rushing. I was not upset with my offense, because I told you yesterday I give Dak a B for the game. They had long drive after long drive after long drive. The defense could not stop dink and dunk luck, and Marlon Mack just ran wild on them. So that's just effort. I've never seen more missed tackles in one game. My defense did not show up. But when it gets pressed, when it gets pushed, when its backs are to the wall and it's on the edge of the cliff, you watch, it will show back up.
If you don't mind me asking, Skip, when can the defense have an off game and the offense ride to the rescue and save the day?
There was one game, and this is pre-Amari Cooper. Explain this one to me. Jacksonville comes into Dallas with the best defense in pro football statistically. Statistically, they are number one in yards allowed and points allowed. And at halftime, it's 24-0 Dak Prescott on the way to 40-7.
Hold on.
Listen to this, 40-7. There's no Amari Cooper. There's no go-to receiver. How did they do that? Because all of a sudden, it just came together. It clicked. And I keep warning you and warning the NFL, don't let my team suddenly gel and click and come together, because the firepower is all over the place.
Time out. You keep going back to Jacksonville, and you say the score was 24-0 at half. Does Dak play defense? Because they didn't let Jacksonville score, Skip.
So guess what happened 2 weeks ago? Andrew Luck, the guy you love that you would take over Dak Prescott, he lost 6-0 at Jacksonville after they went south, after they collapsed, after coaches are getting fired. And they've got dissension-rocked locker room, right? Okay, so how did that happen? 6-0 over Andrew Luck. And that same team, in a much better place in the season, lost 40-7. That was the beginning of the end of Jacksonville, thanks to Dallas. The beginning of the end, maybe, of New Orleans was thanks to Dallas. The team nobody wants to face in the postseason, I guarantee you. The one that strikes fear is the Dallas Cowboys. It's still got the leading rusher in pro football.
Skip. Let me tell you how this works.
Yes.
Teams do not fear a team that's led by a quarterback that's inconsistent.
Can't throw?
Because
you heard it, Dak.
Because what you need, there will come a time in the game when the rubber needs to meet the road. And what we've seen from your guy this year is a big old heap of inconsistency.
Really? So my guy threw for 455 yards against the Eagles, who are still pretty good in their front seven. It can really get after you.
But Skip, you gave him a C. Why'd you give him a C? Because he had the 3 turnovers before he got to that point.
He did. And boy, then for the second half, the fourth quarter, you got to give him an A+.
Skip, the inconsistency, that's what I just said. All you're doing is making my point for me.
455 yards?
Yes.
Wow. Does he not have capability? Yes, he has capability.
Everybody in the NFL
has he not had a whole bunch of 300-yard passing games? Yes, he
has.
A
whole bunch he's had, too.
No, he hadn't had more. He did 300 in a playoff game.
No, Skip, I'm not talking about...
He threw for 455.
For me, the way I'm looking at it, what he did in his rookie year has no bearing on what's going to happen this year.
Well, were those NFL games? Did they count? Maybe they're practice games.
He took the L. Okay, in his only playoff game, he took the L. Did it count?
He got him back to 31 all.
I don't care what he got back to. I don't care what he got back to.
Does he play defense?
I don't care what he got back to.
I don't think so.
Skip, guess what?
Well.
You know, my car went out the other day. I got it back working, but it still put me downside the road. So what do I accomplish? I had to call AAA to come get me.
I think you're going to have to call AAA to come get your prediction.
Oh, no. I was right on it.
They're going to have to just drag them
Who
home.
was the only one that predicted the Colts was going to do what they did? Everybody laughed at old Shay Sharpe. Laughed at me.
You realize you're about to be down 17 cases?
Don't worry about what I'm down.
How can you lose 17 cases? 17!
Because
you're in the Hall of Fame.
Because you won't let me get them back because you wouldn't bet me 2 on Sunday.
I'm in the Hall of Diet Dews.
Do we restart 2019, or does it just continue?
No.
Oh, you mean he just gets to wipe the slate?
Well, like he pays for it,
if
and
he
then we
wants
start
to
again.
pay off his 17 cases,
I tell you what, this is what I'm going to do, Skip. If you guys clinch, I'll come in here Monday with 10 cases.
I don't do halfway payoffs. It's 17.
Look here, Skip.
You can't just buy your way out of this. No loan shark would let you do that.
Oh, you're a loan shark?
I'm not a loan shark.
All right, you hear that? He's a loan shark.
Oh! No mercy. On Sunday, Tom Brady, well, he lost to the Steelers for the first time since 2011. He did some very un-Brady-like things, including a horrible attempt to throw the ball out of bounds that was picked off in the fourth quarter. NFL analyst and future Hall of Famer Charles Woodson, who also played at Michigan with Brady, he thinks Father Time has finally met the 41-year-old. Woodson said this: "I just think the NFL is catching up to Tom Brady. I think he's actually starting to feel all the hits, all the sacks of the NFL. It happens to every player. It happened to myself as a player. At some point in time, it just catches up with you." Shannon.
There we go.
Is he right?
It's not the NFL. It's Father Time. And I've said this, and the thing is, now I've been ahead of the curve with this.
Yeah.
But see, for me, I guess because Charles played with Tom at Michigan, and Tom is viewed a little different than Shannon, he's not going to get called a hater. But when I point something out, I'm a hater. But you know what? That's okay. I deal with it. I deal with it. I don't mind being called a hater. It's just called this natural thing called old age. And it happens. Because think about it. Teams try to get off of players once they get to 30. They say they're starting to slip.
Yep.
But Tom Brady is different. Tom Brady, if that's the case, why not hire more 41-year-olds to play in the NFL?
Because there's only one like this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But this is what we know. Over his last 7 games, Tom Brady has thrown 8 touchdowns. 20 quarterbacks have more touchdowns in that span. Eli Manning, Dak Prescott, Mitchell Trubisky. Just for argument here, Pat Mahomes has 23 over that same time span. This is where Tom Brady ranks in completion. You keep talking about Aaron Rodgers and this, that. Tom Brady is 18th in completion percentage, 11th in yards per attempt. He's tied for 10th in touchdown passes. That's Tom Brady, but he's not slipping. When have you ever seen Tom Brady have these kind of numbers this late in the season? But I want to show you something that happened last night in the game. What Drew Brees did and what Tom Brady did on Sunday. DJ, drop that track for me right quick.
There we go. I can't compete with this.
And I don't
I'm sunk.
I don't like
I can't win this debate
I don't
now.
like the break. Look at this. Now, Julius Peppers hit Drew Brees in his chops. And you see him step into that throw. Look at this. No, I'm going to take it in the chops.
Drew Brees ain't going to last much longer.
Whoa. Look at this hit.
Yeah.
That's Julius Peppers. That's 6'6", 285 down the pipe. Look at Tom Brady. Look at Tom Brady.
What did
now,
Drew
look
Brees-
at this here. Look at this here.
What did Drew Brees throw for last night?
Like when you bring research.
Yeah!
Some video.
That's all I'm talking about. As you get
Wait, aren't you the same guy who wait, just 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, you just blasted Drew Brees for the last 3 games. You said he was pretty pathetic, right?
Tom Brady's been pathetic over the last 7 games. But this is not your turn, Skip Bayless. I'm not going to let you do this. This is my turn to talk now. This is not your turn. Okay. This is my turn.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that when you play this game long enough, you lose your stomach to take those shots in the chops.
Yep.
Charles Woodson is absolutely right. As you start to get old, Jenny, those licks start to hurt a little bit more. Then you start to feel them, they start to wear on you. I don't care how much you can do to split. I don't care how pliable you are. When you take enough hits to the chops, and we saw it front and center, you lose your nerve. Tom Brady is losing his nerve.
Tom Brady, you heard it. Yeah, you've lost your nerve.
Hey,
it's okay.
You see, because what happens is that when you try to critique an all-time great player, the first thing everybody will say, he has 5 rings. Well, I'm not critiquing him trying to take the rings away.
Sure.
This is why, see, for me, I didn't even know what he said this, because I'd never listened to sound, and I don't watch other shows that might have a debate that he and I might talk. So I don't know what's being said. I'm talking about what I see. And the one thing they can tell you about Shannon Sharpe, as any coach that coached me, and I write down notes. You know what, Skip? I watch film, and I write down everything Gary Kubiak said. I wrote down everything Shane Gailey said, everything Matt Cavanaugh said. Because if something didn't happen in the game, I want to be able to come back and show you. So I was very, very attentive to detail. Watch the tape. All you got to do is watch the tape. And you tell me Tom Brady is still the same guy, that he still has the stomach to stand in the pocket, look down, and rush out traffic, and stand there and take it. He is not, and the numbers back me up. He's a 5-time Super Bowl champ. He's a 3-time league MVP. But he's lost his stomach to take those hits.
Tell me when you're
Just
finished.
take your time and do what you need to do.
Yeah. By the way, I wrote down everything Bill Walsh told me, and then I wrote down everything Jimmy Johnson told me, and then everything Tom Landry told me. And I see absolutely no aging in 141-year-old Tom Brady. And this whole debate it amuses me because it's so silly, and you're going to look so bad. And I feel sorry for you and Charles Woodson and all the ex-stars who are clearly just jealous of a 41-year-old who's playing at a supremely high level, far past their ability to play at supremely high levels at other positions that were much more injurious and dangerous to play than quarterback is.
If you play in the NFL, you're playing at a high level because there's only 1,500 people do of 7 billion what you do. But is Tom Brady playing at top? Because like you tell me, Skip, you say when we critique and judge GOATs, we'll hold him to the highest standard. Is he playing at that standard with these numbers? A simple yes or a simple no will suffice.
It's my turn, and I'm talking.
I guess that means no.
I have heard this for at least 5 years, 7 years, 8, 9 years. It's always, this isn't fair, the ex-players. This isn't fair. Tom Brady can't play this way. He flinches. He ducks. He's losing his nerve. He's not taking the career-threatening shots in the pocket. It's not fair. This is football. It's a hard game, and he's avoiding the danger. It's not fair. He can't keep playing this long. I've heard it so long, and I'm going to hark back to a quote that I mentioned yesterday, but I looked it up, and I'm going to read it right now because I love Ryan Clark, but this was uttered on ESPN back in May 7th of 2013. This is 5 years ago, and this is what my friend Ryan Clark, ex-Pittsburgh Steelers star, said of Tom Brady. He said, when Tom Brady gets pressure and when you're man-to-man and bumping those guys and making it hard for him to throw, he sees ghosts, said Ryan Clark. Even when guys aren't around him, even when he's not about to be sacked, when his clock goes off in his head and that ball should be out, we'll see him duck. We'll see him flinch. When you get Tom Brady doing that, the whole New England Patriots mystique goes away. That was 2013. That was a long time ago. And since then, Tom Brady played the greatest fourth quarter we'd ever seen in a Super Bowl against the Legion of Boom after the 2014 season. And then he played the greatest fourth quarter in overtime in the comeback against Atlanta. And then just last Super Bowl, he threw for an all-time playoff record 505 yards in a Super Bowl game. That's what he did after he's seen ghosts, according to Ryan Clark. And do you know how many times I've heard that he's lost his nerve, that he's fading, that he's finally showing his age? It goes on and on. I have to go back to 2005. Do you remember he lost to Jake Plummer at Denver? And that's whoa, it's my turn. That's when I first heard Tom Brady's losing it. And then in 2009, he lost a home playoff game 33-14 to Ray Rice and company. He managed only 14 points against the Ravens, turned around 1 year later and lost to Mark Sanchez at home in Foxborough. And then in 2012, he lost to Baltimore, scoring only 13 points at home. And dare I even bring up the classic turning point game in early 2014 when they went to Kansas City and lost 41-14. That was the we're on to Cincinnati game, said Bill Belichick. But that was the night everybody said, you know, it's just sad and pathetic to watch Tom Brady because he's washed up. So what happened this year? Look at what he's been through. Belichick traded away Brandon Cooks, who was his best receiver last year. Am I right about that?
That should have no effect on Tom Brady if he's that guy.
Then he let go Danny Amendola, didn't want to re-sign him, so he signed him.
Should have no effect if Tom Brady's that guy.
Those were his two best receivers a year ago.
But he's Tom Brady. He don't need receivers. Remember, he take those guys from Dorchester. That's what you tell me.
There's no more Martellus Bennett this year, who was pretty effective last year. And Deion Lewis, did he not like to flip it in emergencies to Deion Lewis?
Got James White.
You know, well, boy, Deion Lewis was explosive, probably a little quicker and faster than James White.
James White caught 14 passes for over 120 yards and a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Then we go through this training camp, and Malcolm Mitchell is cut, and then they try Eric Decker, and he's cut. And then my man Jordan Matthews from Vanderbilt. And I thought, okay, Brady's got no, he's cut too. And it felt like Belichick was trying to sabotage Tom Brady. That's what. Look at all those receivers who are gone. And finally, after Edelman missed the first 4 games, they go get what's left of Josh Gordon. When Cleveland finally said that's enough, and I think, okay, maybe finally they can sort of, bring back the what's left of Josh Gordon, and maybe he'll be just a semblance of Randy Moss and give Brady something to throw to. And on the last play of the game at Pittsburgh, he wasn't even on the field. I don't know if he's been doghoused. I don't know what's happened, but he caught 1 ball against Pittsburgh. 1 ball, that's all you got. And by your own concession, Rob Gronkowski is just this broken down, pathetic shell of himself, and that's all you're throwing to now? So who else is there?
Whoa. Time out. Did Tom Brady not beat the Atlanta Falcons, play the greatest fourth quarter in overtime without Rob Gronkowski? Did he not throw for 5? Did he not throw for the most? Hold on, time out.
He had other guys.
Wait a minute. That's my turn.
I'm not sure what's left here.
Whoa.
I thought it was still my turn.
No.
I think I got rudely interrupted.
No, you conceded the floor to me.
I did not.
Yes, you did, Skip Bayless. Now, you just told me that he threw for the most yards in the 99-year history of the NFL in the playoffs.
He did.
Did he have Julian Edelman? Now, all of a sudden, 7 games.
Wait, did he have Brandon Cooks in that game? No, he left early with a concussion. I don't know how he did.
And he still threw for 505. So again.
And he was throwing to Chris Hogan, whose 7-Eleven always closed. He's the one 7-Eleven that closes every day.
Hold on.
You can't even get in it.
Hold on. In the Super Bowl last year, Chris Hogan went over 100 yards.
I know. That's the last I've seen of him.
Oh, that's the last.
Have you seen him this year? I saw one little burst against Pittsburgh.
Again, and this is what happens when you critique an all-time great. Now, very few people are willing to critique a all-time great. See, me, I don't care. You know why? Because I sit at the desk across from this man every day and we debate topics. I'm never going in the field to interview anybody. See, those guys have to be very careful because if you critique the all-time greats too harshly, they won't do an interview with you. They won't sit down with you. I don't give a damn if they talk to Shannon Sharpe.
Nor do I.
But see, Skip Bayless, what he tries to do is he tried to flip it and said, you're jealous. Charles Woodson has a Heisman Trophy. Charles Woodson is a Defensive Player of the Year. Charles Woodson has a Super Bowl ring.
What happened to Charles Woodson when he played against Tom Brady in a playoff game at Foxborough? The bridge got burned. The ties got cut because he got tuck ruled. And he was the one who caused the fumble. So he still hasn't forgiven Tom Brady for getting away with that.
Tom didn't pick up the flag. That's what it was. Tom didn't pick up the flag.
That's why he's
not. Skip, you got to stop.
It's okay to be a little resentful.
You know what
It's okay.
Jenny, this is what I've learned, and I wrote this down. We really listen to what we want to hear. If you notice, when you want to find information, where can I go to get the information that I want to hear?
True.
Shannon Sharpe gonna give it to you filtered, uncut. Skip Bayless that way.
Are you saying mine's filtered?
Yeah, you filtered.
I'm filtered?
You gave Dak Prescott.
Wait, do you think I care what anybody says? Yes, do you think I want to interview anybody?
Yeah,
no, I don't interview anybody.
Neither of you guys don't.
Zero.
You interviewed.
Zero.
Hold on, time out. You didn't interview Tim Tebow?
Yeah, once.
Oh, whoa, time out.
And he requested that I interview him.
Hey, now, why would he do that? Why would he? That's not what Skip Bayless does. Why would he request Skip Bayless and not something? Come on, Skip.
Hold on.
Time out, Jenny.
Do you think I cared whether I interviewed him?
I want you to say again because I was talking and they didn't hear you. Why did he request Skip? He was what?
Because he was comfortable with him.
Oh, they ain't gonna get comfortable.
That's a good sign.
Because I was the only one who supported him as he made everybody else.
My job in here.
Wait. I was the only one who supported him when nobody else did, and everybody else looked foolish, including Shannon Sharpe. Am I right? Am I right?
But my job, I'm not here to support anybody. I'm here to give you the facts, uncut and truth.
Yeah, I resent that. I resent that.
What?
I do. I resent that notion. Do you think I'm trying to play to people like I'm trying to... Wait. Have I ever talked to Tom Brady once in my life?
I don't know.
No. I resent that. I do. I seriously. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't like that.
Skip, don't
You crossed the line.
Skip,
I'm sorry.
Skip.
I don't talk to anybody. I have never spoken one word to Tom Brady. Never tried to call him. Never asked to interview him.
Hold on, wait a minute.
One time. Have I ever talked to Dak Prescott except on this show when he came on the show? Nope. Sorry.
Hold on, time out.
No, you can't get away with that. Sorry.
Hold on, time out. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait a minute.
No.
Hold on.
I'm not going to hold it.
You're going to sit here and tell me I'm a hater. I'm jealous of Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think
and because you're comfortable with Tim Tebow, I don't care.
What are you talking about? Have I ever talked to Tim Tebow since I interviewed him?
You gonna sit here and question a Hall of Famer with 3 Super Bowls and talk about I'm jealous of Tom Brady?
Yes, because you had to stop at 35.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
that's a whole different world.
And just because you Tim Tebow comfortable and you love Tim Tebow and Tom Brady, so I don't care if you resent it.
I like them as players, but I don't like them off the field.
All right.
Resent it.
We're going to leave it for now. We're going to talk about the Eagles, if they're better with Nick Foles or Carson Wentz next.
No
mercy. The Eagles announced yesterday that Nick Foles will get the start at home Sunday against the Texans. Carson Wentz is out with a back injury, but the Eagles are not putting him on IR, which would have ended his season. Foles helped lead the Eagles to a big road win against the Rams Sunday night. They're now 7-7, 1 game behind the Cowboys in the NFC East. So, Shannon?
Yes.
What's going on here?
Carson Wentz is still hurt. It's hard for me to believe that he had a back injury that kept him out of Sunday's game, but he's ready to go back after this game. And this is why you have a quality backup. What you ask your backup to do, come in, keep the ship afloat until the starter comes back healthy. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, for some, they win these last 2 ball games, and Nick Foles gets injured. Well, now you have Carson Wentz, who's your franchise quarterback, coming in to bring it home. A lot of what coaches do is the X's and O's, is putting the guys in the right situations. But a lot of it is gut feel. If you remember in 2001, when Drew Bledsoe got hurt, they went to Tom Brady. When Bledsoe got healthy, Skip, they didn't bring him back. They stuck with Tom. You remember in 1990, Jeff Hostetler, Phil Simms. Now, Phil Simms went 22.
Although Brady got hurt later and they had to go back to
it's a championship game.
Go ahead.
But when they went to the Super Bowl, Brady started. So a lot of it is gut feel. How do I feel? Yeah, I understand X's and O's is very important. But my feeling says, you know what? I'm gonna ride this. I'm gonna stick with this a little longer. So I don't have a problem with this. And I know, look, Foles is better. I don't believe Foles is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. And there's no reason for them to put Wentz on IR if there's a chance that with rest he can come back and play, because Foles might get injured and then you need Wentz to come in and win the last game in order for you to get to the playoffs. So I'm not going to read a whole lot into this. I just believe right now Wentz needs rest for that back, and that's what they said, because it's hard for me to believe that if they thought he was injured enough, they would just go ahead and put him on IR. But they said before in the report that they believe with rest, he can heal properly.
Okay. So I don't know for sure what is going on with Carson Wentz's back, because they are not divulging exactly what's wrong.
Correct.
I know what Doug Peterson said, and then I know what he did, and they don't match, because he was saying he's really hurt. He's got a fractured vertebrae. It's possible he's got that transverse process injury. Right. Remember this? A lot of quarterbacks suffer this.
Had it, I think.
He had it. Cam had it. Derek Carr had it. I go all the way back to Bryce Petty when he was at Baylor, when they were riding high. He had it. They usually miss 1 game with it because it's a hairline fracture, without going into the gory detail of it. But it creates discomfort more than it creates pain, where you can play with it and it'll heal quickly. It'll go away.
Right.
So I'm going to just guess, and I am guessing it's something on the order of a transverse process hairline fracture, because when they said fractured vertebrae, I'm thinking, boy, he's done for this year, right?
Exactly.
And he wasn't done. And they wouldn't even commit to Foles on game day until game day, right? They waited to the last second to say, oh, he's going to start.
I think they wanted the Rams to prepare for both quarterbacks.
That's highly possible. And then it surprised me, they didn't shut Carson down for this year. So I'm assuming he might be ready to play, right? Okay, so what happened? Here's where we diverge on this. Obviously, I don't think Nick Foles in a vacuum is better than Carson Wentz, because he doesn't have as big an arm, he's not as big a man, he's not as physical, he's not the runner that Carson was. He isn't anymore, because he's still a little gun-shy on his knee.
Right.
But Carson Wentz's body is starting to show wear and tear, because he's taken a bunch of shots. It reminds me of early Andrew Luck, where he's taken so many shots because he will run into people and, well, how'd he hurt his knee?
Right.
He's trying to crash through 2 defenders to get in the end zone, right?
Okay.
But when I watch Nick Foles operate this offense, he operates it more smoothly than Wentz does to my eye.
Okay.
My eye test tells me that Nick Foles is playing the position better than Carson Wentz can play the position in this offense. It looks like it has more flow and rhythm to it. It looks like he's spreading the ball better than locking in on Zach Ertz almost every play the way Carson Wentz does. And all I know is what my eye test told me about the NFC Championship game against your Vikings at Philly and then the Super Bowl. Those were two of the greatest playoff games I've ever seen one quarterback play back-to-back in two big stage playoff games.
I'll give you that.
Okay, they were really good, and obviously Nick Foles outplayed Tom Brady in the Super Bowl to the point he was the MVP.
True.
Well, this has never happened in the history of the National Football League, that a Super Bowl MVP quarterback then went back to the sideline and had to watch Carson Wentz after the first few games, obviously, because it took Carson a little while to get right. But now you've got him looking over your shoulder, and I believe Doug Peterson got so desperate as they were teetering, as they went to the Rams, he just said, I got to see what Foles can do.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe I would be willing to agree with you. Let's see if Carson Wentz is active on Sunday. See, now I'm more in line to agree with you, because you're like, okay, if he's active and he's addressed and he can play, why isn't he starting?
Man,
and
all of a sudden.
And who knows, Skip, maybe that's the plan. Maybe they're like, you know what? We're just going to shut him down. We're not going to put him, we're not going to dress him. So therefore, it would keep some confusion.
Okay. So if he's active on Sunday, and I'm going to guess he will be active, Carson Wentz.
You think so?
Then I believe we could have a musical quarterbacks thing where they're just going to go from series to series, see how Wentz plays, because they're hanging on by a thread. If they can manage to beat the Texans at home, they're still hanging right in there.
But Skip, did we forget they did score 18 points opening against Atlanta. They scored 21 points in a loss to Tampa. So let's not pretend like Nick Foles had put up 40 and 40 in back-to-back games.
All right. Okay, to start the year.
To start the year.
Okay.
And remember that first game against Atlanta last year, Skip. Atlanta had 3 cracks thrown into the end zone to win the game.
All right. But I thought there was Super Bowl hangover for this team early, and I thought they had some key camp and preseason injuries.
Okay.
And they didn't look like themselves to open the year. They weren't the underdogs anymore.
Right.
And by the way, now they're going to do some weird thing with ski masks or something.
Yeah,
Did you read about this?
Fans.
Like they're good because they're robbing people of games, like they're going to go steal games. So now they're wearing ski masks before the game. I don't know. That's what.
Jenny hit me on my head with the coffee mug.
Okay, whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes.
Well, yeah,
that's how desperate they are.
It's a lot.
All I need is Tampa to do is rise up. I want Tampa to do something special for me on Sunday.
Okay, well, they might. They're highly capable. Jameis, I love Jameis. He's highly capable. Does he not have weapons? Still got that guy named Deshaun, right? I can see that.
Jameis, I don't know what's going on with it. But look, Skip, see, this is what you try to do.
Well,
you try to create dissension in the Eagles' locker room. That's what you're trying to do.
I've just thought from the start that Nick Foles plays the position of quarterback better than Carson Wentz. That's all I know. And Carson Wentz is turning into a turnover machine because he's tied for second in the NFL with 6 lost fumbles. So he's become, like Dak is too, but he's even worse than Dak this year in lost fumbles. Well, he is. I don't know. Well,
but I see what you're trying to do.
I'm not trying to do anything.
Yes, you are.
I'm just telling you what I see.
He plays the position a little better. See, no, Skip.
Well, have you ever seen this in the history of the NFL, those 2 games he played?
Well, excuse me, if you watch the NFL, you study the NFL long enough, you're going to see something you've probably never seen before. So this is an anomaly.
And it's not like it was Jeff Hostetler going in for Phil Simms and they kind of did game management. Let's mostly hand the ball off and high percentage.
Correct.
This was Nick Foles bombs away, man. Yeah. In the Super Bowl, he just letting it fly. And he features Alshon. To me, again, if I'm rooting against the Eagles, I fear Alshon more than I fear Ertz.
Well, you're going to get the bigger chunk plays with Alshon because he's going to try to throw the ball over the top of your head. Okay. Zach Ertz is going to move the chains, but the dude has 101 catches. It looks like he's going to come close if he doesn't break Jason Witten's
really
110.
Good. I assume he's going to break it, but we will see. I'm just saying there is a quandary going on here, but if Carson Wentz stays as hot as I think he will, they're going to be a threat to the Cowboys. They're going to win their last 2. I mean, Foles, yeah. If Foles stays as hot as I think he will, because he looked really good against the Rams. It looked different.
But I thought you said the Rams weren't that good. You said they were like 22nd in total yards and stuff.
Yeah, but weren't the Eagles like, what were they, 10, 12-point underdogs?
Yeah.
I guess they were back in there.
13.5
yeah, it was
where
worse.
it ended right
before
the game.
Yeah, it was way up
It was
there.
really high.
Somebody lost.
Yeah. Huh.
So somebody come in and put 150 grand on the Rams to win.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe
it
wasn't me.
It was not. Wish I could do that. All right. From what we saw from Drew Brees last night, getting hurt his MVP case. Inconsistent. I'll tell you next.
No mercy.
Well, we all watched as Drew Brees and the Saints won last night, but his numbers have definitely taken a hit. Brees has been high in the MVP race, but he has struggled recently, throwing only 2 touchdown passes in his last 3 games, including 0 last night. He entered the weekend with the second best MVP odds behind Patrick Mahomes. So, Shannon, who's the MVP right now?
3 cases to do right now. My homeboy.
Really?
Yeah, 3 cases.
That's interesting.
You want some of this?
I might think about that.
Okay. Look, it's not even close. They were neck and neck. But it's not even close. Jenny, you mentioned it.
Not even close?
Not even close. Drew Brees' last 3 weeks, 177 yards a game passing, 2 TDs, 3 INTs, and then he threw another pick on the 2-point conversion. But that doesn't go against him. Patrick Mahomes, in his last 3 games, he's averaging 305, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick. So for me, guess what? Drew Brees is now third. Phillip Rivers is in the passenger seat. 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Drew Brees is what? 31-5. Mahomes is going to win this thing in a landslide, Skip, because I believe landslide, because he's going to be the only guy to do something. Only one of the guys done this. 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. Peyton Manning. He's the #1 seed right now. The numbers, Skip, he's 11 touchdowns clear of the next closest, and that's Andrew Luck. He's 11 clear. He's the #1 seed. So at the end of the day, yes, you need to win, but this is still a stat award. And nobody is close to my homeboy when it comes to stats and winning. So Patrick Mahomes, the 2018's MVP, will be who, Skip Bayless? Patrick, my homeboy.
Didn't you guarantee me that Tua would win the Heisman in a landslide?
I'm guaranteeing it.
Didn't you guarantee me again and again and again? And you said you'd bet a case of do on it. I said, I accept, and then you backed off at the last second.
Hurt. But I tell you what, I'm going to tell like them old men in the South. I bet my bottom dollar. You know what bottom dollar is, Jenny? That's the last one I got. I bet my bottom dollar. My homeboy win this thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have some inside info?
I don't know.
There you go.
One year you had it on Matt Ryan. I don't know who told you. But you know what? You can't have it right now because we got 2 big games left in this year.
Yeah.
And each of these 3 candidates have big stage, big tests coming up. So I don't know how you could have insight.
I don't have insight.
Okay.
I just don't know how you take the MVP from a man with because, like you said Kyler Murray was doing things we had never seen.
He was.
Well, only Peyton Manning gets thrown for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in the same season, and this is what Patrick Mahomes is going to do.
By the way, you were talking about Andrew Luck's touchdowns. How many did he throw against Dallas? I don't remember.
How many?
Any?
Hold on.
He threw 0.
How many did Drew Brees throw last night?
I don't know.
Oh.
I have said that Drew Brees was slightly ahead until these last 3 weeks, and we haven't done this topic for, I don't know, it seems like 3 weeks.
Right.
And you got me on this one. At this moment, you got me. Because Drew Brees has not exactly made his case in the last 3 weeks. He has unmade his case, and you just spat out all the stats. And I agree with you. I've been nonplussed at best here. I keep waiting for where's that guy, and I don't see that guy.
And I know who. Hold on, time out. Guess who we're not even talking about in the MVP discussion? The guy that's supposed to be playing so great. Why are we not mentioning him?
Who?
The guy that's supposed to be playing great, that's playing great football, that looks great.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. Why are we not talking about him?
Whose coach cost him the win at Miami, or we would be talking about him.
No, we wouldn't, Skip.
Yes, we would.
No, Skip.
Yeah, I think we would.
With these numbers he's got.
If they had gone and won at Pittsburgh and had won at Miami, he'd be right back in the discussion.
Skip, with little 22,
Okay.
23 meters touchdown.
So right now, if I had to cast a vote at this moment, it would go to one Phillip Rivers.
Oh, you would do it. You know what? You just don't want me to win.
I just don't. Do you remember what your kid did on Monday Night Football at the Rams here, right here in L.A.?
He threw 6 touchdowns for 478 yards. You remember that, Jenny?
I do.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
He turned the ball over 5 times.
Turnovers.
5
Hold on.
times?
But you just told me.
His team is 2-2 in the last 4 games. You like that? I don't like that.
Skip. But you just told me Phillip Rivers had a debilitating loss. He lost to Case Keenum.
He did.
You asked me, did you like that?
5 games ago, he did.
Okay.
And then he's had these miraculous comebacks at Pittsburgh and at Kansas City that wowed me. I mean, I can't argue against it. I can't discount what he's done.
Think about who Mahomes has lost to. He lost to Tom Brady, leading the division. He lost to the Rams, leading their division. He lost to the Chargers, 11-3, has a chance to overtake them. But still in those games, 12 TD passes, 1,073 yards, and 3 losses. Let that sink in for just think about it, Skip Bayless. That's only 11 fewer touchdowns in 3 games than Tom Brady has thrown in 14. Let that sink in for just a second.
I would like our viewers to let this sink in, that a former Denver Bronco is pulling for a Kansas City Chief to win MVP. That should be against your religion.
No.
Right?
When I come
your blood should boil orange.
No. When I come up here, I throw all that allegiances aside.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with the folk, because they're going to see through, Shannon, you being a homer. That's one thing they'll never say about old Shay Sharpe. I'm going to call it like I see it.
So here we go again, where you could be backed into a corner, rock and hard place.
For what?
Because what if your team, the Chargers that you picked to win it all?
Yes.
What if your guy Phillip Rivers has 2 classic games? He's got the Ravens, and then he has to go back to the scene of their crime. I mean, they lost to Denver, but he has to go to Denver for the last game.
Beat the team that beat him.
That's correct. So those are big tests for Phillip Rivers. What if he makes A+ in those 2 games against the #1 defense and then rights the wrong at Denver? He could make a big MVP case here, right?
You do know Mahomes got the Raiders last game of the season at home.
Okay.
He could easily throw 6 tubs.
Yeah, but he's also got a big game at Seattle, which will be no walk in that park.
Didn't they just take it on the chin to San Francisco?
Okay, but you know they're different at home. You know it, and I know it.
I got a
feeling very different.
I got a feeling my homeboy gonna come out and do something.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you had that feeling about Tua in the SEC championship game.
Oh yeah.
You want to put a case of do? He throw it. I'm gonna say, you know what?
He'll throw 4 touchdown passes.
3.
3
and 300.
You said 4
3
first.
and 300.
You said 4. Do you want to put a case on it?
Okay.
I'll do a case on 4 right now.
4 and 250, or 3 and 300.
Well, I'm going with your original bet. It's 4. 4 touchdown passes for a case of do.
No,
I got it.
No,
you said that first.
No. Hold on.
I accepted the bet.
But Jenny, you see what he did? Now, he been talking about Drew Brees, the completion percentage, the QBR, and all this, and now he done jumped on Phillip Rivers. See, the one thing,
I say what I see.
I ride with my guy.
Yeah, if we do the topic 3 weeks ago, I'm saying Drew Brees is running away with this. Plus, you got the narrative. He's never won an MVP, and he's about to turn 40 years of old.
And guess what? Now that I'm in the catbird seat, you know what catbird means, right?
We do now.
It's a favorable position. I've been looking good.
Have you ever seen a catbird?
No, yeah.
Did you raise a catbird on your farm?
No. I was in the catbird seat because I was always sitting pretty.
He's just updating resumes, Shannon.
No.
That's what we do around here.
And speaking of QBR, now Patrick Mahomes has run away with the QBR race. It's 82-81 over Drew Brees. You like that? 82-81.
No. Drew Brees is running away with the QBR. Drew Brees is running away with quarterback rating.
82-81.
Aaron Rodgers, that 122.5 is going to stand the test of time.
Who's played the best football over the last crucial month of the NFL season? It's Phillip Rivers. I mean, seriously.
Yes.
You have to give that to him.
That's why
Am I right?
That's why I have him at number 2.
Well, you have Mahomes at number 1 just because you've had him all year.
Skip, what am I supposed to do with 45 touchdowns and 4,500 yards?
What am I supposed to do with those 5 turnovers in that game and 2 and 2 in the last 4 in the crucial month?
Even with 5 turnovers.
And it should have been 1 and 3 because I don't know how he pulled that one out.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Lamar had him dead to right.
No, he didn't have him. He didn't have him nothing. Yeah. My homeboy said, I got something for y'all.
They should have put Lamar in at safety because he would have just picked that pass off.
Well, you know what?
Prayer.
That was not a prayer. Well, it was an answer.
We're going to leave it for now. We got a couple more weeks to go. What about the Cowboys, though? Are they headed for a free fall? We're going back to it because we have Rob Parker.
Yeah, here we
get
go.
his take next.
Come on, voice of reason.
Yeah.
No mercy.
The Cowboys, let's talk about them. They were shut out for the first time since 2003 after a big loss to the Colts on Sunday. Dak Prescott said, quote, Sunday's loss is a wake-up call And Ezekiel Elliott added, quote, "We needed a reality check. The Cowboys were rolling before Sunday, winning 5 straight. And next up for Dallas, a home game Sunday against the Bucs on Fox." We're joined now by Rob Parker. So, Rob.
Here we go. What's up? Good morning, Skip Bayless. Good morning, Shannon Sharpe.
Let's talk about the Cowboys. Good morning. Are the real Cowboys the team that won 5 straight, or are they the team that was shut out on Sunday?
You know, Skip Bayless, you saw your real Cowboys on Sunday.
Oh, that's it.
And all Cowboy fans, this is their nightmare. Is that Dak Prescott is going to be the real Dak Prescott when it's a big game and when it matters. No Cowboy team had been shut out since 2003.
And they've had some bad ones.
And they've had bad ones. We could go back to Quincy Carter.
Quincy Carter?
Can I go back there, Skip? You remember those Quincy Carter days?
Yep.
Bill Parcells was the coach back then.
Yep.
Matt Castle, quarterback even.
They had a lot of bad
Whedon.
quarterbacks. But the bottom line is, you know, and everybody knows, they had a nice little run. Things kind of worked out. We saw this in the second half against the Saints. Remember that 13-10 win where they didn't score in the second half at home? Do you remember that?
Who won?
No, I got who won, but I'm just telling you these moments.
Who won on Sunday, Rob?
I know who won this Sunday, Skip, since we're talking about wins and losses. But I think everybody knows this is their nightmare, is that at some point, Dak is going to have to win you a football game. And most people doubt that he's able to do it. If the running game is good, if the defense is good, you got a shot because then Dak isn't there. But if it's not, and you got to rely on Dak making plays when it really matters against a good team in a big situation, these nights are going to happen. This is what you're going to see.
So what happened 2 weeks ago against the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs at Jerry World? What did Dak Prescott do in that game?
Were they the defending champs, or were they a team scuffling and struggling? Because that's what they were at that point.
They had Carson Wentz.
They won the game, and then what?
He's
what did
way
Carson
better
Wentz,
than
right?
Dak Prescott. Carson Wentz is way better. That's what I hear.
Skip,
right?
did they blow him out, or did they win by? They won by a touchdown.
Dak Prescott threw for 455 yards. How do you do that? How do you, in the fourth quarter and overtime, throw for 243 and 3 touchdowns? Wow. I don't know if you can't throw. I don't know. Maybe he was throwing it underhand. I don't know what he was doing. Behind his back, through his legs. I don't know what he was doing.
It's the
I don't know.
It's the
I don't know
NFL,
how he did it.
And more of those days, that's the anomaly. That's every once in a while, you know this, Shannon, in this league, even I don't care who you are, you're going to have a big day. We saw Fitzpatrick have some unbelievable games. And then what happened? He was reduced to who he really is. And
Nick
we saw
Mullins,
that.
the guy from the 49ers, from Southern Miss.
Remember that, the first game?
He's got 430. He's thrown for 432 in the game this year, Skip.
I don't really care. I just don't
Of
care.
course not.
I just know my team is
Skip,
8-6.
You're the same guy who threw his jersey
Thank you.
hat in the garbage after a Dak Prescott loss.
Speak on it.
You did it.
I'm the same guy who retrieved the jersey.
No,
in my
why
hat.
did you do it if you still had faith in the guy? You know this guy's going to rear his ugly head when it matters most.
I've said this many times. I'm going to say it one more time just for your benefit. This team is the most frustrating team I have ever rooted for an entire season because I have ridden a roller coaster unlike any other year in any other sport I've ever rooted for any team, including college football or basketball or baseball. This team is wildly inconsistent, but its highs are really high because when I least expected, when Jacksonville came to Dallas, #1 in defense and points allowed and yards allowed, my Cowboys did a 24-0 number on them in the first half and won 40-7. That's the same Jacksonville that just 2 weeks ago shut out Andrew Luck 6-0 at Jacksonville.
No, but that team has lost so many games this year. It's not the same team.
Thank you.
So you can't hang your hat on that game because Jacksonville revealed to itself that it's not that good.
But they hadn't revealed that when they came to Dallas.
They
Dallas left them for dead, just the way they left New Orleans for dead on that Thursday night. New Orleans hasn't been the same since Dallas, and Jacksonville hasn't been the same since Dallas. So my team can be really good and really bad, sometimes in the same game, such as the one 2 weeks ago against Philly at Jerry World. But when it's time, backs to wall, edge of cliff. My team always has responded this year, and I remain convinced that when it matters most, my team will be really good instead of really bad. Now, again, I tried to explain this to Shannon. He rejected this theory, but I know my team. My team had gone through a 5-game revenge tour. We got to get revenge. And they went to Atlanta and got revenge for that debacle there last year. They got revenge. They twice over Philadelphia, once over Washington. They would have won the game at Washington with Amari Cooper. It went to the last kick, which hit the left upright, but they didn't have Amari for that game. They would have won the game against the Texans in Houston.
They would have won every game, according to you.
Well, but they didn't have Amari Cooper. So all of a sudden...
But they had Dak.
What's that?
They had Dak.
Dak couldn't win the game.
You told me Dak's that guy.
What happened this time? They go up to Indianapolis. There's no bad blood between Indianapolis and Dallas. They don't even care. They don't even know who the Colts are. And the Colts came from nowhere after they lost their first 3 or 4 games. I think they lost
started
their first
1-3.
1-3. And they go up there and they wake up on Sunday morning and realize, you want to talk about catbird seat? They're in the catbird seat. They got a 2-game lead in the division. And on Sunday, they know in their heart of hearts, the Redskins have to go to Jacksonville with Josh Johnson at quarterback. And the Eagles have to go to L.A., where we sit right now, and play the Rams with Nick Foles back at quarterback.
And what they do when they came to L.A.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, do you think Dallas thought that was going to happen? Because nobody thought that was going to happen because they were, what have you said, 14-point underdogs.
So they basically said, oh, we'll just toss the game in Indy because it doesn't matter?
They knew that this was the first game. Remember the Michigan Revenge Tour? What did they call it? The Revenge Tour. So all of a sudden, they had a game that wasn't revenge because they don't even know the Colts, and they didn't need the game, and they failed to show up for the game, especially the defense. It came in number 1 in the NFL in yards per rush allowed, per play. And they give up 178 yards rushing. That's abominably bad. That's embarrassing. They got exposed for a day because they can't just roll those helmets with the star out on the field and think that the Colts are going to shrink and fall on their backs, because they're not. And the Colts played great and Dallas played miserable. It was their worst game of the year, although the Tennessee game was pretty close. So now, again, they don't really have to win this Sunday, which I dread, but they're 7-point favorites against Jameis Winston and Tampa Bay at home.
Yeah.
They don't have to win it because, again, Philly's got a hard game against the Texans at home, and Washington has to go to Tennessee.
to lose.
Okay, well, if you're right about that, then Dallas needs to win.
I'm trying to figure out, why would you put off tomorrow what you can take care of today? Why? Oh, we don't need to win the game.
And if you're that good, Shannon, you would just win the game because you're that good.
Well, I believe they're going to beat Tampa Bay.
Oh, really? Where they go out on a limb.
Okay,
but
well,
you also believe they were going to beat Indy.
Okay, you want to up your bet?
No.
Put your money where your mouth is.
I tried to
I'll let you go
week.
up to 4. I'll do it to 5. I'll do 5 cases and 5 cases.
But, okay.
He bet 5 cases Philly was going to win the division. I'm sorry, 3 cases that they were going to win the division, and 3 that Dallas would not win the division. So I'll let him do it if you can increase the stakes.
Okay, well, since you want to tell everything, dry snitching about our bet.
I'm not dry snitching. It's been on the air every day.
Why did you tell Rob that, he tried to bet me 2 cases that the Cowboys were going to lose on Sunday, and I wouldn't do it?
Time out. You tried to bet me 2 cases,
I did.
And I wouldn't take it.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't take it. And guess what? I was right not to take it.
Exactly.
Thank
That's
you.
my point. But now...
I'm still up 17. I'm almost up 17 cases.
But
17 cases? You can open up a store.
I know.
But now, but you see what he does, Rob? Now that he's in a favorable position, I'll bet you 4. I'll bet you. Let's make it right here. 5 cases. Play a little old lowly Tampa. When was the last time Tampa won a game, Skip?
Okay. Well, you're trying to rub my nose in what happened in Indianapolis, and I'm saying when my team needs to win a game, it's going to win a game.
Hold on. Talk about. You see what he does, Rob? Now, he came out here for 5 straight weeks. He out here with his chest all out. He up here like this here. How about them Cowboys? My quarterback, Dak Prescott.
I like that. Do it again.
No,
I like the ring of that.
455 yards. Dak Prescott did this on Thanksgiving. Dak. Now, all of a sudden.
Who's the leading rusher in the National Football League? Number 21.
What'd he do? And Marlon Mack showed him up.
He did.
Showed him up.
Yep. But he's still the leading rusher. Amari Cooper is still, to me, the hottest receiver in pro football. And I got him, and he changed my life.
4 for 32.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton said,
Yeah. And I didn't love it going up there because my Pro Bowl guard was out, Zach Martin, and then the other guard who's played really at a high level, Suafila, he got hurt, got poked in the eye. I don't know what happened, but he was gone.
But aren't you afraid that if they don't win this game against Tampa, that there's a chance that the Giants, their rivals, could try to win that last game. You know what? Eli's last stand, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible my Cowboys would have to go win a game at the Giants? It's not like they haven't done that before.
But a rivalry game.
No, you hadn't. Because you remember you had Tony Romo? Yeah. You remember the games y'all lost when all you had to do was win one game at the end? You lost in Philly. You lost at the Giants. You remember that, Skip Bayless? So don't do that.
You remember that season.
Don't do that, Skip.
I got a guy with football character. I got a guy with backbone. I got a big play, big stage playmaker. I got a warrior. I got a warrior. That's what I got. Dak Prescott.
You got a turnover machine.
I got a warrior.
You got a turnover machine.
No, I do not.
Skip, I'm shocked that you went from tossing his jersey into the garbage to saying that this guy, because they won, I had a 5-game winning streak against a couple of so-so teams, and they beat the Saints. I give you that.
Can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Can you buy me some that Dak Prescott cologne? I want to wear it. They say you wear it at night when you don't want to score.
Exactly.
That's what I heard, Skip. I don't know if it's true or not.
What?
I'm just saying. That's what I heard.
Who would ever buy that?
Who would ever buy that?
They said that's that Prescott.
I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah. That Prescott, they got new cologne. That Prescott. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk
when
about...
they don't want to score.
I hope he's watching right now because when my guy gets challenged, good stuff
So we
happens.
like the challenge.
Who challenged? I ain't nobody challenged
You
you.
just challenged him?
No, I did not.
You just tried to shame him.
How?
Ridicule him. I like it.
Let's talk
Exactly
about
what
a
my team
different
needed
quarterback in the NFC. We're moving on to Cam Newton. Has he been a major disappointment this year? We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
Well, Cam Newton had a rough night, and the Panthers lost their 6th straight. Cam threw an interception in the red zone and was sacked 4 times by the Saints. He has also apparently been dealing with a shoulder injury this season, but Ron Rivera said they won't shut him down for the final 2 games. Let's take a listen to Cam after the loss.
I think it's disheartening for me, just because so much invested time that you put in. I don't, want to, play the woe is me game, but we just got to be better. I got to be better. I got to be better. And that's what's so frustrating when you want it so bad and you push, you put so much on your plate, and it doesn't come down to you. But at the end of the day, you just got to uphold your end of the bargain. Obviously, my arm hasn't allowed me to do a lot of practice. Been on a pitch count for a long time. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But that's not. A scapegoat. That's not, something that I want people to bail me out on. It's just something that, is reality.
All right, Rob Parker is still with us, but first, Shannon, what is going on with Cam?
Cam Newton's hurt. Cam Newton's been hurt for a while. In the first half of the season, Cam Newton had 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So that put him on pace to be 30-8. They were 6-2. In his last 6 games, he's thrown an interception in every game. And you watched Cam Newton throw the football last night. He's hurting. He's hurting. Cam Newton is never going to have the accuracy of a Breeze or a Brady or Aaron Rodgers. But Cam Newton is not this inaccurate. And the thing is, a lot of times when you're an athlete, you do things to get out there on the field. You take injections, that you miss practice. You just try to do whatever you can to get on the field. But when fans in Carolina, they see number 1 on the field, they expect MVP performance. They expect Cam to be Cam Newton. And he can't be that. He's alluding to it, but Cam Newton is more hurt than he's letting on. That's not, like he said, not to bail him out, but Cam Newton has a serious arm injury, a shoulder injury. And Ron Rivera said, because they can't shut him down, because there's still an outside chance, Skip, he gives them the best chance to get to the playoffs. And it's unfortunate that his arm they squandered a great defensive performance last night because Cam's shoulder is so messed up that Cam, it's almost like because I don't care.
Pushing the ball?
Yeah, because when you injure, Skip, your body knows. I've been injured, had ankle injury, knee injuries, and tried to go. But you can take painkiller injections all you want to, but you hit it just right, even with that numbing medicine in there. You're like, let me get up off that. So that's what was happening. Now, there's something that transpired last night, Skip, his clock management. He's celebrating a first down.
He did.
And clock's ticking. Come on, Cam, you can't do that, bro.
No.
Go and get up and get the timeout. And then after you call the timeout, you want to do the first down. But you can't do the first down and tick. But Cam Newton's shoulder's injured, and it's a reflection of how the Carolina Panthers and the offense have looked over the last 6 weeks.
Shannon, I'm glad that he's not using it as an excuse, because once you put on a uniform, you go out there. You just got to do whatever you can.
Right.
But I agree with you. It looks like he's hurt.
Yes.
Because he's just so bad. But when I look at Cam, And before the season, I was indifferent on him. I was just like, I don't. Since 2015 in that Super Bowl, I just have not felt the same way about him. And he was as dynamic, Skip, that year.
He was.
35 throwing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. He had an unbelievable year. What were they, 15-1?
Yep.
And I really thought they were going to smash and win that Super Bowl, and this was going to be a shining moment. Not only did he not be able to live up to that, then afterwards he ducked out and didn't want to. It just, yeah. I know, but it just made everything that had gotten built up, it just took away from that.
He got Von Millered.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
And DeMarcus Ware and Malik Jackson.
But since then, I'm just saying I don't have the same feel for him as a guy who was taking that next step, who was going to be one of those quarterbacks or faces of the NFL. He was right there. He was a Super Bowl win away from when people would look at Brady, Rodgers, you know what I mean, Cam.
Yep.
I mean, that's really where he was that close. And now he's taken 4 or 5 steps the other way. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully he can get healthy and get that arm right. But I don't know where Cam is. I don't know if his window has come and gone of him being that guy. But it's going to show him.
I don't think it's come and gone.
No, I don't think.
I don't know because I just haven't seen that guy in a couple of years. That's all.
Here's what threw me about last night. Just 2 games ago at Tampa, he threw for 300 yards. And I don't know if the pain medication just worked better that day. I don't know if he took a shot early in this game. But this one was shocking to watch Cam Newton. He couldn't throw it more than 5 yards accurately.
No.
He'd have to, like, kind of muscle it up and try to go over the top with it. It was just like, it hurt me watching him hurt while he was trying to deliver the football.
Yes.
And when they got the ball back, I'm thinking, Cam at home, last-ditch drive, he's got a shot here. Because I've seen him do that to Tom Brady before. I saw him on Monday Night Football one night do it to the Patriots.
He did that in Foxborough, wasn't that?
No, I thought it was at Carolina.
No?
It was at Carolina.
Yeah, I believe it was Carolina.
Well, he beat him last year in Foxborough.
That's what I was
No, I did it last year.
I was thinking
a couple Monday nights ago, a couple of years ago.
I remember that in Foxborough.
But the point was, when he threw it so well against Jameis at Tampa, I'm thinking, what happened? Because something went way wrong last night. Because his best throw was to Christian McCaffrey for 5 yards, and then hoped that he could break loose. And their only touchdown pass was thrown by Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. Really?
And that interception, Eli Apple, right before
he just didn't have enough arm strength to get the ball up high enough.
He looked like Brady.
You watching that game?
It was to Funches, because Funches is like 6'4".
Skip didn't hear that.
It like Brady.
I said he looked like Brady. He's trying to throw the ball out of bounds.
But here's the thing.
I'm not going to give you that.
You watched last night, and they get the ball back with 1:45, 50 to go. And you're looking, you're like, New Orleans like, you can't throw the ball deep, so we gonna crowd everything. You're not gonna throw the ball over.
Fair, man.
Exactly.
It was not fair. In the last throw of the game, the 4th down, he's just trying to gut it up and just get rid of the football, and it's just going wild high. That's not Cam Newton. But when I do look at his career, I say this every time we do the perspective on Cam. Those first 2 games he played, he set his bar way too high. I'm talking about as a rookie.
422 and 423.
422 and 423. How do you do that? Right. It's impossibly great. And he's never had a 400 yards since then. Well, that's just not fair.
But is it fair, Shannon, that they keep him out there really when he can't perform? I understand. I give him credit for trying to go out there. But at some point as a coach or an organization, you got to say, he can't throw the football. Right. And anybody else who's the second string, I don't even know who their second string is. But their second string. Am I right? Skip,
he's the guy whose name I can't pronounce. That's who it is.
That's who it is.
Seriously.
But that guy, he can't throw the ball better than what Cam is trying to do.
But this is what expected. When you're a franchise quarterback, or you're a franchise player, this is what they expect you to do. They pay you the big bucks to be able to play through these type of situations. And you look at Skip, he came in that draft, and that might go down as the greatest draft ever because Von Miller was in that draft, J.J. Watt, Julio Jones, Patrick Peterson, A.J. Green. You look at all the guys that were in that draft.
Yep.
If you redraft today, Cam Newton is still going number 1 because he's a quarterback.
I'll buy that.
And you're not taking another guy over a quarterback. Sorry. And Von Miller has been spectacular. J.J. Watt's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's been spectacular. Julio and A.J.
I'll buy that.
But you're not taking him over a quarterback.
Because in this league, if you don't have a quarterback, you can't win.
You can't.
You can't win.
Because look at all those numbers J.J. Watt was putting up. They didn't start taking off until when, Skip?
Yep.
They got Deshaun Watson. And you look at Bond. Bond is still sacking the quarterback, but they ain't got still sacking the quarterback. But because they don't have a quarterback, guess what? Gonna miss the playoffs again.
Yet and still, Cam revolutionized this position by running with the football at 250 pounds. Yeah. And this year, for the first time, I'm seeing a little drop-off in the ability to attack because he just takes so many hits, man. Right. He's just not right.
I thought early on, Skip, they had a situation that was 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
You got Cam. You got C-Mac. Just run up and get the first down.
So now he trails Lamar and Josh Allen, 2 rookies in quarterback rushing yards.
Which is shocking.
Yeah, it is.
No, we're not with Lamar Jackson.
Not
now,
Jackson.
Josh Allen is surprising.
Right,
Because the dude opened his career with 300-yard rush game. And I'm like,
but I'm starting to think that's all he can do is run the football.
Yeah, I'm beginning to agree with you.
Oh, well, that 2015 MVP season, it feels like a while ago.
Yeah.
Rob, thank you for being here. NBA champ Derek Fisher, guys. He is here next. And we're going to talk to him about the Lakers, LeBron, so much more. It's going to be fun. Thanks again,
LeBron had 13 points the other night.
Go ahead on, Rob. It's time for you to go.
No mercy.
Well, our next guest won 5 championships with the Lakers and hit one of the most memorable shots in playoff history against Skip Spurs in 2004. He hit this jumper with 0.4 seconds left to give the Lakers the win, and unfortunately, I don't really think Skip's gotten over it yet.
Why did we have to show that?
We had to.
That was the second most painful moment in my Spurs watching history because the Ray Allen topped you slightly. But that was May the 13th of 2004. And could you briefly and painfully relive that for us, how it unfolded?
Oh, man. I mean, it looked good for the Spurs after Tim Duncan hit that shot.
Yeah.
I was in disbelief. It was probably the lowest scoring game in the playoffs.
It was. The final score was 74-73.
Yeah, we were up by 13 or 14 points at some point. Spurs make a run.
And then Duncan makes like this fall away from almost.
And it was the best defense.
I don't think it banked. I think it went straight on. I looked at it this morning.
I feel like it may have banked.
I think so too.
It was crazy.
Because that's what you said. One lucky shot. Shaq said one lucky shot.
But that was the best defense Shaq played the whole series.
No, he got out on him. He was all over him. I agree. But he dismissed your shot as lucky, and I don't think it was lucky.
Well, I'll take luck if that's what it was. But
because Ginobili is all over you, man.
But what's funny though, Skip, is it was not until I saw a still photo after the fact that I knew Ginobili was in my face like that.
Really?
Because my eyes were only on the rim.
Wow.
I did not see him at all.
So when it left your hand, did you think good?
I thought it was long. I knew it was right on line, but because I was fading back, I guess instinctively I put extra touch on it. But I thought, I was like, oh, man, I shot that ball way too hard. It's going to go over the basket.
And then you took off running because you probably thought it might have been a little after the buzzer?
No.
Like, no?
Was that shot called for you? I mean, you got Kobe on there, who's one of the all-time big shot takers and makers. Yeah. Was that play called for you?
No. The ball always goes to, most situations, Kobe. In this situation with 0.4 seconds left, we're looking for Shaq at the rim first. They covered that. Kobe went towards half court, and Robert Horry, instead of staying on the guy out of bounds, he went with Kobe, which opened up a passing lane for Gary Payton. So I'm just standing there behind Karl Malone, and I see this big gap in the open court.
Right.
And I just cut that direction.
And Gary Payton's inbound
threw it, and I knew I had to all in one motion. And I think also being a lefty, the clock operator is behind.
Right.
So the clock operator has to wait a split second to make sure that I've actually caught the ball.
Right.
So, to your credit, Skip, maybe it was 0.5. You got to give, 0.1 second to the clock operator.
So
but
maybe it helped that the play wasn't called for you because you didn't even have to think. It's just like react, just see it, feel it, shoot it, right?
Yeah, no, and I mean, I was used to the play not being called for me.
I would say on that team. Speaking of those Shaq-Kobe teams, Shaq said the other day, I think it was last week, that he believes the 0-1 team, which you knew very well, you're part of, that just swept through the playoffs, except Iverson got you the game one of the finals, but that team would beat this Golden State team. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that when I started to hear about them going back and forth, and I agree with Shaq, obviously, because I was on that team. So, of course, I feel like we could beat anybody. But I also agree with Steph that the debate of trying to compare eras and who's the greatest team, that's a hard thing for me to do. That's not the way my brain works. But I don't think people understand how hard Shaq was to cover.
I agree.
And when you think about the league as it is today, the league is designed for the perimeter players to get to the front of the basket. The hope is by them getting to the front of the basket, the defense will have to collapse, which then opens up the threes.
Right.
Shaq was the ultimate collapse the defense guy. So that left me, Rick Fox, Robert Horry, Brian Shaw, everybody like literally wide open most of the time. And so I like to think that Robert Horry at kind of that stretch four, Shaq at the 5. Rick Fox could guard a lot of people. Kobe could guard a lot of guys.
The question is, when you're dealing with errors,
yep.
How's the game? Is it going to be, are you playing in 2001 rules or are you playing in 2018? Because if you play with 2018 rules, y'all not winning.
No, I'm fouling out. I'm fouling out.
They shoot it too good. You're right, but Shaq but they'll concede 2 for 3s.
Yes.
And I don't know if you can make enough 2-point shots to offset what they're going to do from the 3-point line.
Okay, but how would Golden State deal with the greatest offensive force I've ever seen, who was Shaquille O'Neal?
And
it wasn't pretty to watch, but it was just what he did to Tim Duncan and David Robinson it wasn't the Western Conference Finals, but the semifinal.
Yeah.
He just ragdolled both of them. They couldn't handle him. They had no hope. It was a clean sweep. You just blew him off the floor.
Yeah, it would be an interesting matchup, but like you said, the rules, I don't know about that, man. We could not run up and down with these guys as fast as they play, the pace they play with, how fast they move without the basketball. Like, we would have a hard time not fouling out trying to keep up with the Warriors today. So I agree with both guys, basically.
So let's fast forward back to the present, and this guy named LeBron James has joined the Los Angeles Lakers, and you do commentary many nights on those games. What are you seeing so far in the Lakers, and what shot do you give them against Golden State potentially in the postseason?
I'm seeing up and down from the Lakers, which I think for a team that is forming, it makes sense. Young guys, injuries. I thought the suspensions kind of started to throw a little bit of, tough stuff kind of going on in their schedule. But based on the way the Western Conference is set up now, I don't see why they don't have a chance to maybe see the Warriors in the playoffs. They're as good as the other 6 or 7 teams that are fighting for the rest of those spots. I don't think they can beat the Warriors in the postseason, though. They might beat them on Christmas Day. There might be a good afternoon.
Right.
But a 7-game series, I'm not sure. Some of the things that are required to win a 7-game series, it takes a little bit of experience with each other to know, when the fire gets hot, I got to know which way Shannon, is he going to switch under pressure?
Right.
Or is he going to stick with the game plan and stay with his man?
Point. Right.
And those are things that a new team sometimes needs some opportunities to go through.
The thing that concerns me is that I see happens a lot, is that they turn the ball over entirely too much and they shoot free throws poorly.
Yeah.
And I do not believe that you can be a serious playoff contending team if you turn it over. Because, they fall, if you look at the Wizards game on Sunday, okay, they have 6 turnovers in the first quarter. Well, that puts you down already by 10. Yeah. And then you have a couple of more, and now you're down, a 10 goes to 20, it goes almost to 30. The game's over.
Right.
And then when you stop the clock to go to the free throw line, you're missing. They were all up in arms about James Harden shooting all those free throws. The difference is James Harden did make the free throws that he went to the line to attempt, and you missed 13.
Right.
Why are you not upset about that?
Well, I think the shooting part, not just free throws, but also just perimeter shooting on a more consistent level.
Correct.
Also is kind of an area where it may not be something that somebody else can just come in and do, but that they have to improve in doing. They have guys that are capable of making shots, but I also think it's continuing to find what ways of offense that they want to play to get those shots. Is it going to be just pace and pushing the ball, or are we going to be able to execute some stuff to get high-quality shots in the half court also?
So we have become big fans of Kyle Kuzma.
Yes.
Could he become LeBron's, dare I say, co-star? Could he be that second star? Do you see that ceiling?
I think he's emerged as that this season so far. I think he has complemented LeBron's arrival as well as anybody else on the roster. I think at the beginning of the season, we all felt like Brandon Ingram had the best chance to do that because of his versatility. I think the suspensions kind of threw him off some. And I also think just finding where can I get mine on the court with LeBron out there 34 minutes Kuz doing his thing. Rondo has the ball in his hands when he's there. Lonzo Ball has the ball as well. So B.I. kind of got a little bit lost in the shuffle, although he's capable. But for me, I do think that Kyle Kuzma has separated himself from the pack as a guy that's kind of second to LeBron, that every night you kind of know what you're going to get from him.
Which is what?
Which is probably 20 points, 6 rebounds. His assist numbers are increasing. There's a presence to his game. There is. Right? Like there's a swagger and a confidence, but he's also still trying to do that within the balance of, it's not just about me. 9 for 15, 8 for 17. We're not looking at Kuz getting 20 points on 6 for 20 shots and 6 free throws. Right. He's playing, I think, a well-balanced game, and I think he's trying to make good effort on the defensive end also.
And as a point guard, what do you see in Lonzo's development so far?
I think Lonzo, we talked about it the other night, he's in the curve in terms of turning the corner. He's on his way, I think, to understanding what his mentality needs to be every night as an NBA player.
More attack mode.
Yeah, I think he struggled with that early. And somebody mentioned to me the other day, he just played his 82nd game.
True.
So
a rookie season.
He's basically just finished a full rookie season. And I think we're seeing the benefit of he's been healthy probably for the longest stretch of time he's been in the league. He's turning the corner. He's dunking the basketball. He's just more assertive and aggressive. And I know LeBron gets a lot of credit, but he should get credit for that as well. Right, because when you see his mentality, the way he comes to work every day, the way he prepares himself, the way he attacks and goes to the rim and doesn't settle for shots, I mean, that starts to rub off on guys, and I think they're all benefiting from his presence.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Rondo Hand is going to be healthy. Then what? Then what? Yeah, because we saw this early on when Rondo got suspended. We see Lonzo play major minutes, play well. Rondo comes back. Lonzo kind of sinks back into his shell. Now he's had, 10, 15 games to play alongside LeBron. Now that Rondo comes back, where do we go from here?
Great question. That's a great question. I think we'll have to see. It makes sense for a young player to struggle with that, though, because when the more freedom that he has to make mistakes and not be as concerned about
heading to the bench.
Yeah, I got a guy that can do the job really well that's sitting on the bench that the coach can go to. That's probably in the back of his mind at times, and that's totally understandable. But hopefully, this stretch of time, regardless of the minutes, that his approach to playing the game can be the same. So if it's not 36 minutes, but it's 26 minutes, well, I can still do all the same things that I've done in 36 minutes. It's just a little bit shorter, but still be aggressive, still attack the basket, just still go out there, be confident, and let it all hang out.
To me, here's the difference. Lonzo will play with LeBron, play off LeBron. Rondo, when he's on the floor, LeBron has to play with Rondo because Rondo's going to run the show in ways that Lonzo just defers. He'll do whatever he vibes off LeBron. He'll just sort of feel it, and they're both so high level gifted. Not that Rondo isn't, but Rondo's, when he comes out, he takes
needs the ball.
over.
Yeah. He can't play. Lonzo can play off the ball. Yeah. Rondo needs the ball. He can't play off the ball. He's a ball dominant player. In order for him to be successful, he needs the ball. What's surprising to me, if you believe that Lonzo, if you believe Rondo was going to be the guy, this signing with Rondo was baffling to me. Yeah, why would you get a guy where he led the league in assists, he's a champion, and you want Lonzo to grow? Why would you put him in that situation?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, but I think that Lonzo has some offseason injuries. Okay. And I think they were a little bit uncertain at the beginning of the season. Yep. If he's a little bit slow out of the gate, we need somebody, especially since we've signed number 23. Right. We can't take the chance of not being solid at that position. Right. But I also think that Rondo at this point in his career is also a really good mentor. And I think that Lonzo can benefit from seeing somebody that can dominate a game without being a great shooter of the ball. Okay. So I have an example now of a veteran guy that's been in the league, won a championship. I don't need to score for people to have to worry about me impacting the game. So I think that's another positive thing, but your point is a valid one. I think that question is going to come into play at the end of this season on whether or not to re-sign another quality guard like Rondo.
So, Derek Fisher is now the new head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. How did that come about?
Seriously?
Yes, that's what we heard. Is that
yeah,
true?
man. No, I'm really, truly excited. I've been a fan of the women's game, of the WNBA, of the Sparks for a long time. I mean, since they came to LA, basically, since the league started, I've been a fan. During the first couple years of championships that they won in 01 and 02, was right during the heyday of our three-peat years. Yeah. And it just felt like LA was a basketball championship town. And so over the years, just in following the team, staying in contact off and on with the general manager, Penny Toller, her head coach resigned, and just we started having some conversation, and she said, look, if this is something you would consider doing, you know, there's an opportunity here for you. And they checked boxes for me: strong ownership that is willing to do whatever it takes to win, management with championship success, and 3 championships before I showed up. Penny Toller's done a fantastic job, and a roster that can compete to win right now. So regardless of gender, if I'm evaluating taking a coaching job, those are the boxes that I want to check. So I'm excited to have the opportunity.
It's really cool.
Way to go.
Awesome. We wish you the best of luck with that. But Derek, you're going to stick around a little bit longer. We need to ask you about your former teammate, Russell Westbrook.
We do.
Keeps getting in fights. What's going on? So you are going to tell us next.
No mercy.
Well, the Thunder blew out the Bulls last night, but it was highlighted by a brawl between both teams. Russell Westbrook exchanged shoves with Chris Dunn in the second quarter, and that started a chaotic scene with more players that spilled into the first row of the seats. It's not even Christmas, and Russ has already gotten into it with multiple players this season. We're joined once again by Derek Fisher, who was a teammate of Westbrook's in OKC. So, Derek, you're the person to ask. What is going on with Russ?
No, I think Russ is being Russ in a lot of ways. I mean, I think he's always played on edge. So I'm not surprised that, you know, he's being himself in terms of that. He's got new twins in the house on top of another. So
no sleep.
That's a good point. So that's part of it. But I think the other part is that I think Russell is going through a major transition at this point in his career. In terms of still finding that balance between giving Paul George that room to do what he's doing and having the season he's having. Steven Adams is blossoming, giving him room. Dennis Schroeder is there, having a great season so far. So Russell's starting to learn how to kind of pull back and let other guys eat. And so there are going to be some nights where it just feels a little awkward. And so now I have to do something else to get myself into the game. So that might be being physical. That might be talking a little bit more trash to make sure that he's still engaged at a certain level. So instead of taking 30 shots, he's now down to 16 or 17. He's taking less threes. His triple-doubles are 16, 11, and 13.
That is true.
Not 35, 14, and 11. And the Thunder are one of the best teams in the West. So I'm not overly concerned that he's off the edge here. I think he's just kind of going through some transition.
I think all that might be true, but I think there's some frustration here going on too, Skip. Russ is shooting 24.8% from the three-point line. He's shooting 62% now. Going into last season, he was an 82% career free throw.
It's horrendous.
He's averaging 20 points a game. That's his lowest since the second season. Now, I understand all I care about is winning. I want to win, but I need to get my numbers too. Because I've shown that we can win. I can still get 30, 12, and 12. We can win that way too. We winning, but, you know, look at how I'm shooting. Look how I'm playing. And I think the frustration, because it's like Paul George is kind of moving on like, hey, I'm the best player over here. You know, Paul is ruffling his feathers. He's look like he's a – because it's not easy playing in the West, Skip, because you got Bron, and you got KD, and you got Harden and Steph Curry. Paul George, like, I was one of the better players in the East. I want to show that I'm one of the better players in the NBA, not just the Eastern Conference. So, and Anthony Davis, so you got to puff your chest out and let everybody know that you've arrived. And so I think some of this, Skip, is frustration because he's shooting the ball so poorly. And we're not used to seeing Russ play this bad. Yeah, they're winning, but it's almost like they're winning in spite of him because he's shooting the ball so poorly.
That is true. So, I'm not advocating fighting here, but I'm pretty sure you went up against Russ in a whole lot of practices, right?
Unfortunately.
And I wonder what your take is on again, I don't want to see fists thrown, but would Russ back this up if it ever came to that? Does he have that in him? It seems like he starts a lot of fights, and then I look up and he's laughing over on the sideline. Not starts fights, but the shoving.
Jamal Murray the other night.
They're pushing and shoving. It seems like every other night he's pushing and shoving with somebody. So would he back it up ever? Does he have it in him?
No, this is Russ.
Okay.
He would back it up if it came to it.
All right. I need to know that because I've never been sure about that because he plays on the edge. Mm-hmm. He's as physical a point guard as, I don't know, we've ever seen. You were a physical point guard, right?
Yes.
Did you guys ever get into it and push and shove in practice?
There was some pushing and shoving, but not of this nature.
Yeah.
But he's as physically strong as you'll ever find. Like when he hits you, you feel it.
Okay.
So I do think he would back it up.
So how surprised were you about KD leaving Russ?
I wasn't overly surprised, honestly. I think that it was not as much about leaving Russ as it was finding KD. You know, I think he finally got to a point in his life and in his career where he was less concerned about what other people thought about him and more concerned about what he thought about him and what's most important to him. And the situation in Golden State, that's what he wanted to do. That's where he felt like he would be most comfortable. And he made the decision, and he wasn't overly concerned with what other people were going to have to say about it. And then now he's finding himself back in that situation again where everybody's kind of anticipating at the end of this season, you know, what move is he going to make? And because he has now practiced and done it, I feel like
easier.
He can make a decision.
Real quick, because we got to go. Gut feeling, he winds up where next year, KD?
Oh, my gosh.
Just gut feeling. At this moment in time, you would think?
I would say New York.
Really? Okay.
If I'm just
all right,
totally guessing.
There you go.
Well, you know New York,
We'll
too.
have to see.
Yeah.
Derek, thanks for being here.
Thank you
Good
for
to see
having
you.
me.
Good luck with everything you've got going. All right, the GOAT, Michael Jordan. He showed off some dance moves over the weekend. I loved it. We will show you next.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. Michael Jordan was caught on video dancing. That's right. MJ was at a holiday party for his Hornets, and he was doing the wobble while smoking a cigar on the dance floor, living life. Shannon, did you like it?
No.
Why not?
Mike, that's not the world we live in. Us old heads. Like, look, I don't know he's undefeated in finals, but he took the L on the dance floor. Out there wobbling. Mike, that's not the world we live in. We side to side.
Yeah.
Snap a few fingers here and there. Yeah, that's all we do. Now, we're not doing all that, Mike.
Huh. Well, I've been told by people who played with you that you don't do any of that.
I know me.
Yeah.
I do what I do, Jenny. You know what I'm saying?
That's not,
Mike,
you don't wobble?
You know better. No.
Okay.
Michael Jordan can do whatever he wants to do.
No,
he earned the right. He can wobble during the wobble. You know, he can do whatever he wants to do. He owns the team.
He was on that hand, Jenny.
He could have been on a little bit of him.
Look at his eyes.
He might have had a holiday sip or two.
That's how my eyes look when I'm getting
like he's so happy.
Yeah.
Smiling away.
If he wants to smoke a cigar, he can smoke a cigar.
I thought you couldn't smoke inside buildings.
That's a good way, unless you own the team.
Nah, that wasn't his team. He was at a club.
Well, he probably owns the club if I know him.
Skip, look, why y'all do that? It's okay to say, Michael, you shouldn't be doing this.
Would you wobble? Would you wobble? I would wobble.
You would wobble?
Yeah, of course.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.